Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, we made it, okay? Didn't think I was going to make it tonight, but we're here. I bet you didn't think I was going to make it either. But, long night at Shop NBC, great night at Shop NBC. And a lot to talk about tonight. I'm very excited about this show. I've been excited all week long. Last week we had Dave King in here, and that was a great show. It was fun having Dave, and I know Dave is in Las Vegas today with the big Consumer Electronics show. I think he's going to be back tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. But, Dave got me a little revved up about Paul Deasy. Now, I've known Paul for a few years. He's our guest tonight. I've seen him in the green room. And he's always a pleasure to be around. He's a fun guy. He's a funny guy, too. He's got a great sense of humor. He always cracks me up. Of course, it doesn't take much to crack me up. But anyway, Paul's on his way to the studio. He'll be here in a few minutes. Until then, let's take care of a little housekeeping here. First off, if you're new to Chillin' with Larry Megan, if you're new to Acorn TV, first thing I want you to do, or I should say I encourage you to do, is over on the right-hand side there of the player, you'll see the little Facebook button. If you haven't already liked our Facebook page, our Facebook fan page for Acorn TV, please click that button and then like our page, and also share it with your friends. Also, please click the Twitter button over there. That's that little birdie right there. And follow us on Twitter. We always are doing show alerts as to who's going to be on the shows and, what time they're going to be on and so forth. So we hope that you'll do that and help us spread the word. Now, for tonight, oh my gosh, I've got a long list here. Lot going on here. First thing is we're going to do a giveaway. And, in the past, 5 or 6 weeks, we've been giving away things, watches and movie tickets and things like that. We've waited till 15 or 20 minutes into the show to make our first call out. And if you've been following the shows, you see that at the start of the show, we'll usually have a decent number of people watching. And then as we get it half hour in and an hour in, the audience builds. And the way we're doing the drawings now, each time we do a call out, you have an opportunity to get your name in the drawing. You get 5 minutes to enter for the prize. And rather than wait 15 or 20 minutes, I thought it would be a good idea to reward those of you that are right here at the start of the show at the beginning. So for tonight, our special guest, Paul Deasy, has given us 2 books. He wants to give away 2 books, and he's authored both of these books. Let me get that graphic out of there. Ronnie, can you get that out of there? Thank you. What I'm saying is Paul authored both of these books, Color Gemstones, you see that on the right-hand side, and Opals on the left-hand side. One of them, the Color Gemstones, the larger one, that one has a $30 value. It's sold on Shop NBC fairly regularly for, I think, $29.75 or something like that. And the Opals book is a $20 value. So we're going to give away 2 books tonight, thanks to Paul Deasy, and he'll be here, like I said, in a few minutes. He's on his way. And what you're going to want to do to enter the drawing is you're going to want to send an email, and this is the first call out right now. So you get 5 minutes to get your name in, and then later in the show we'll make 2 or 3 other call outs, and then you can have 2 or 3 more chances. But you want to send an email to contact@acorn.tv, okay? And in the body of the email, you want to put your name, city, and state. We don't need your full address. We don't need your phone numbers right now. Just put your first name, last name, city, and state. And in the subject line, you're going to put the secret word. And tonight, the secret word is rebel, okay? The reason it's rebel, not because I'm a rebel, although some might say that I am. Maybe I used to be when I was a teenager. But nevertheless, in the Classic Film Zone tonight, we are going to feature, you guessed it, Rebel Without a Cause. And of course, that was starring James Dean from 1955. And, that was a great flick. And James Dean, of course, is absolutely legendary. And of course, Savvy Avi will be covering the Classic Film Zone for us tonight, live from Knoxville. And we'll bring her in a little bit later in the show. But we are going to feature James Dean from, Rebel Without a Cause. And so tonight, your secret word is going to be rebel. And you put that in the subject line of the email, rebel, contact@acorn.tv. Get them in. Ginger, is the mailbox open? Okay, great. So we've got the box cleared out and open and ready for your entries. And 2 nice prizes. I think that Color Gemstones would be my choice, and that's a great coffee table book. Matter of fact, I got to tell Paul when he gets here to make sure I get one of those. Many of you know I used to be not only in the jewelry business, but my forte was colored gems. And maybe Paul and I will talk a little bit about colored gems tonight, because I do love the colored stones. All right. So for tonight, again, as I mentioned, we are going to feature Rebel Without a Cause in the Classic Film Zone. Paul Deasy is going to be our special guest. And I thought, while Paul is on his way here to the studio, a couple things I want to cover real quickly. One, of course, I've got a few minutes here. We don't talk much about sports anymore. Of course, I always encourage you to call in. We will take live phone calls tonight, and we will answer your questions. You can even Skype video in if you want to talk to Paul or be on a split screen with Paul. You see at the right below the player on the screen there, our studio phone number. That's the 310 number. And, of course, if you want to video Skype us, we can put you on a split screen. You want to just Skype to Acorn TV. All right. Now, we don't talk sports much anymore. And while Paul is on his way to the studio, I thought I'd take this chance just for about 2 minutes here. We are in playoff mode, NFL playoffs. And I can't believe they've got me working at Shop NBC on NFL Championship Sunday, which is January 22nd. No, is it the 22nd? Yeah, the 22nd. That's right, on that Sunday. So I'm going to have to be in the studio. But, last week, this past weekend, I should say, my favorite game, of course, was the Steelers against the Broncos. And I was definitely pulling for Denver. I didn't think Denver was going to win. I thought Pittsburgh was going to win, but I was pulling for Tim Tebow. I like this kid. He takes all kind of criticism in the news from all these experts. And, the kid is just a great football player. I don't know about quarterback, but he's a football player. And I like the way he plays the game. And so I'm pulling for him. So for this weekend, I thought I would at least lay it down, get my predictions down. I won't go in depth as to why I think these things or whatever. I'm just going to give my predictions to get them on the record. In the NFC, we've got New Orleans going to San Francisco. I'm going to take the 49ers. I know Drew Brees and the Saints are a great team, but they're not the same out of the dome. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. And the other NFC playoff game, of course, on I believe it's on Saturday, you've got the New York Giants going to Green Bay against the Packers, the defending world champions. The Giants have to be a huge underdog, even though they played them very close just a few weeks ago. I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm a Jets fan primarily, but I don't hate the Giants, and I actually do like Eli Manning. He's another one of those guys that takes a lot of criticism, from the New York media, although not so much the last year or two, but early on he took a lot of it, and he's always handled it with great class. So I've Eli's kind of grown on me, so I pull for that guy, and because I'm pulling for him, I end up pulling for the Giants. So I am definitely pulling for the Giants to beat the Packers. I'm going to say the Giants over the Packers. In the AFC, I think Houston going to Baltimore is almost a no-brainer. I will be absolutely shocked. I will be stunned if Houston can win that game. The Texans have an outstanding team, but they're not the same team without Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub, of course, is racked up. So therefore, this one's got to be Baltimore all the way. The other game, is the big one. That's the one that I can't wait to see. And, of course, that's the Denver Broncos going into New England. And I'll tell you what, Ronnie, I don't know. Do you watch it? No, you don't care for it. The thing is, even though I'm a Jets fan, before I moved to New York, I was also a Patriots fan. And I really do like the New England Patriots. When the Jets play the Patriots, of course I pull for my Jets. But I do like Bill Belichick. I do like Tom Brady. And I do like the organization of the Crafts and, of course, of the Patriots. And, of course, had the Steelers done what they were supposed to do and just beat the Broncos like they were supposed to do, then, of course, they'd be going into New England, and I would be all over New England to beat the Steelers. But this is like worlds colliding for me because I got, on one hand, Brady, on the other hand, Tebow. I've got to pull for Tim Tebow. It would be the upset of the year, if they can pull this off. I'm going to pull, I hate to say it, but I'm going to pull, sorry, Fitty, I'm going to pull for the Denver Broncos because of Tim Tebow. I just really like this kid. My head says New England has got to win this. They've been on a mission for the last several weeks. They're focused. I don't see a way they can lose, but you know what? Right now, it's this guy, Tim Tebow, walks on water, so I'm going to pull for him. Okay, so I'm going to call Denver over New England. Now, by the way, whoever wins that game, Denver or New England, that's who I'm pulling for to win everything, the whole thing. So I can't wait for that game. All right, there you have it. My picks are down, official predictions. Okay, now, as I said, tonight we're going to feature, is that Paul? No, I thought I heard someone coming up the stairs. Okay, he'll be here in a few minutes. He texted me. All right, tonight, as I mentioned, in the Classic Film Zone, we are going to feature Rebel Without a Cause. So what I thought I'd do, Avi's going to cover that for us, but what I thought I would do is share the trailer with that movie. If you haven't seen it, I know a lot of you have. It's a very famous movie. James Dean only made 3 movies. But Avi is not going to actually be showing the trailer, for the movie. So I thought, you know what? It's only about 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the trailer for, you got that queued up, Ronnie? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Rebel Without a Cause.
You know what kind of drunken brawls those parties turn into. It's no place for kids.
A minute ago, you said you didn't care if he drinks.
He said a little drink.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
Girls don't love their father. Since when? Since I got to be 16?
Stop that!
I love you, Jim. I really mean it.
No, I don't want you to go to the police. There were other people. Why should you be the only one involved?
But I am involved. We are all involved. Mom, a kid was killed tonight. This is all going too fast for me.
You better give me something. You better give me something fast.
Jimmy, you're very young. A foolish decision now could wreck your whole life. In 10 years, you'll never know this even happened.
Dad, answer her.
Stand up!
You want to kill your own father!
That really is a great movie. Preparing for this week, I watched the movie again and even some special features, and it just reminded me, it's been a few years since I've seen that. I don't remember the last time I've watched it, but it really is great, and I can't wait to get to that with Savvy Avi. Okay, I want to just remind you once again here, if you're new to Acorn TV, you're new to Chillin' with Larry Megan, help us spread the word. You'll notice on the player right in the lower right-hand corner there's a little button that says share. And if you would be so kind, you can actually click on it and share this to your Facebook page. We're trying to spread the word, get as large of an audience as possible, and it's greatly appreciated here. All right, one more thing before we bring Paul out here. Next week, of course, many of you may know that, for about 8 or 9 weeks, we covered the last 8 or 9 weeks of the X Factor season. And Jonathan was very helpful with that. And, so we decided, we talked about, are we going to cover American Idol. That's starting next week. And I guess it remains to be seen. I think what we may do, I love these shows, these singing competitions. The Voice is coming up in February also, but and I like that one too. But American Idol is starting up next week, and I certainly don't go for the early rounds when there's a lot of goofball acts in there. I know a lot of people like that part. I like it when they get down to about 10 or 12 good singers, and then it's on, good competition, good talent. And anyway, so we'll decide. I don't think we'll cover the early rounds, but we'll probably not necessarily rehash the shows as in depth as we did with the X Factor, but we might show, maybe a highlight of the night. Once they get past the audition rounds, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the show looks this year. I imagine they're going to be making some changes. So in preparation for the American Idol, I thought, for tonight, I would show one clip of one of my favorites. And I started thinking about it, and I was going like crazy. And I've got like my top 20 all-time American Idol performances going all the way back to season 1, where with Kelly Clarkson, Natural Woman, and of course the finale she sang was incredible. And it was really hard to just pick one out of the whole bunch. I think in the top 10, I've got like 4 or 5 from A.Lambert. I mean, that a couple of years ago, 2009, A.Lambert just absolutely stole the show. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but he was incredible. So I thought, well, I'll show one number, and I guess the one number that I picked was an A.Lambert number. We'll show this, and then we'll bring Paul out. This was Tracks of My Tears, a Motown song written by Smokey Robinson. You may remember this. Check it out.
I'm really nervous right now.
That's okay.
This is your song. One of your songs. Tracks of My Tears.
Oh, fantastic.
Coming today with a song written by our mentor, Mr. Smokey Robinson, was definitely intimidating. People say I'm the life of the party.
I love to hear other people's interpretations of my songs.
If you look closer, it's easy to trace.
I had never heard the Tracks of My Tears sung like that. I've heard it by a lot of people, including me. Everyone I've ever heard sing it. It's sort of like crescendos and goes up, and especially when you get to the ending is, look at my face doing it. But you just kept it tender and sweet and soft, and I've never heard it done like that. I was very proud of Adam's interpretation of that song.
What inspired you to write it?
I thought about what if a person had cried so much until if you got really close up to them and looked in their face, you could see that their tears had left tracks in their face.
Oh. This song is so beautifully written, and my goal is to do it justice.
He's going unplugged tonight. Here is A.Lambert.
People say I'm the life of the party, 'cause I make a joke or two. Although I might be laughing loud and hearty, deep inside I'm blue. So take a good look at my face. You'll see my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Outside, I'm masquerading. Inside, my hope is fading. Just a clown since you put me down. My smile is my makeup I wear since my breakup with you. Baby, 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 take a good look at my face. You'll see my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Ooh, I need you, I need you, I need
but I got to stand up there. I got 6 words for you. One of the best performances of the night. You showed artistry on that stage. Awesome.
Thank you.
Adam, what I love so much about this season is that someone like you comes along that is completely in his own league, and you have that gut instinct to have the element of surprise. But it's not so and by the way, I did take a good look at your face, and I love the clean look. No nail polish tonight. The hair, handsome, very handsome and classy. And I just think that it's amazing to me how it is an element of surprise, but it's just an extension of who you are as an artist. And that's what makes it so exciting. And you are exciting. You are it.
Well, Adam, I'm going to disagree with Cara because it was the best performance of the night. Sorry, but you were able then to sum up everything we were trying to say tonight about originality, choosing a great song, being a relevant recording artist, and it also shows what a brilliant songwriter Smokey is, because this song sounds as good today as it did 30 years ago, whenever it was. And you tonight really have emerged to me as a star. Congratulations. Well done.
You know what I'm so happy about? It's from day one, I will say, when I saw you, I was like, this guy has the range, he could do anything. And tonight, you showed that you're not only just like a cool indie, kind of cool rocker, whatever, you can pull it down, you can straighten it up, you get the suit on, and you sang such tender moments, still using your falsetto and everything that's in your arsenal. Unbelievably hot, the bomb tonight.
Nothing to really even talk about here. Let's just give out the phone number for Adam. 1-866-IDOL-08, 1-866-436-5708, or you can text the word VOTE to 5708. Well done.
Thank you.
When we come back, more live Motown music. Stand by for Danny after this.
Well, like I said, we're going to debate, how deeply we're going to cover American Idol. It starts up next week. We'll see. That was one of my favorite performances. Paul did arrive to the studio, so he did make it here. But, hold on before we officially introduce him, Ronnie, please. One more thing little house cleaning I want to take care of before we get into our guest here and everything. Next week on the show, we're going to have Tim Temple here. And it's going to be our photography show. Some of you have already sent in some samples of watch photography, and that's great, but we're looking for more. So, if you are a person that's into watches and you take pictures of your watches, please, you can PM me on Facebook, or you can email them here to contact@acorn.tv. And if we select your pictures to be shown on the watch photography show next week, then we'd like to have you either Skype video with a split screen, or we'll have you as a call-in and tell us what kind of camera you used and what kind of lens, or what your tricks are, or, what your techniques are. Whatever you want to share, you can share. And we're looking forward to that. So, all right. So that takes care of everything. And we're off and rolling here. Well, my guest tonight, and I don't know, did you find the music I had for him? Okay. My guest tonight, long time home shopping guru. He was at QVC for a long time, and I think he spent time at HSN as well. And of course now at Shop NBC, he's known as the Gem Insider. And he's really had an affinity for the Gemstones, and that's where he's gravitated to. But also Paul has done so much more. We're talking about Paul Deasy. He's an actor. He's got a movie coming out. We're going to get into that with Paul as well. And I've come to know Paul a little bit. I call him a coach. He's like a coach. He's like a life coach, okay? When I start giving him excuses as to why I can't lose weight, he stops me in my tracks every time. He says, no, you can't put negative thoughts in your head. And I love that about Paul. But you'll hear the music that's playing, Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville. And I mean, that song fits this man to a T. Here he is, Paul Deasy.
Well,
Welcome to Chilling with Larry and Megan,
much.
Paul.
By the way, you've captured my ringtone. You know this.
Oh, really?
This is my ringtone for my phone. we live in Florida now. Our boat's in the backyard. It's that is the lifestyle.
Well, before we started doing this show, I asked Paul, do you have any favorite movies, any favorite songs? And my goodness gracious, nobody, and I mean this, Paul, really, nobody has given me. I thought my favorite song is this. I like this. I like that. That's it. I got 2 pages.
Yeah, well,
I got 2 pages from Paul of songs, movies, and the way you broke these movie categories down.
By genre.
Well, you call them genres, but I never heard of some of these genres. Okay, and I was going to ask you: are these real genres, or are these Paul Deasy?
I make stuff up as I go along. No, it's funny that you say that though. But if somebody says, "What's your favorite movie?" I don't have an answer to that. You have to say, well, is it a comedy? Is it an action film? Is it a cop buddy film? Yeah, I did make up some of my own genres.
Well, like for example, let's start. Just run through a few of them here.
All right.
And we can taper down the music now, Ronnie. Enough is enough. But thank you. You got the idea. Mockumentary by Christopher Guest. I have to admit, I really was not familiar with the term mockumentary.
Right.
And I started doing, looking up some of these things. Tell me about Christopher.
Well, Christopher Guest was actually the first one that got me into the mockumentary genre was Rob Reiner. His directorial debut was a movie called This Is Spinal Tap, which was brilliant in so many ways, and a lot of famous actors were actually in it. And from that time, Christopher Guest was one of the major characters in it, played a guitar player named Nigel Tufnell, a very kind of dim-witted but yet brilliant guitar player, and the struggling band, was having all sorts of problems. But the reality is, then Christopher Guest started doing other documentaries that were poking fun at certain things, and they're all brilliant. And this little cult following of people that watch these movies end up just waiting with really much anticipation for the next movie that will come out. So the first one he did was a film called Waiting for Guffman, and Waiting for Guffman was this. If you've ever been in community theater, and I think that probably everybody has at one point in their life or another, but if you've ever done that, then this was a great character piece. And most of these guys are really ad-libbing it along the way, which makes it a lot of fun too. But then I think that his penultimate film was one called Best in Show, which was poking fun at the dog shows and the crazy dog owners. So he's done a lot of them.
Well, what I got a kick out of more than his movies, I mean, I have to admit I'm not into this kind of irreverence or something.
Right.
That's not really my thing. But I got a kind of a kick out of when I went on YouTube looking up Christopher Guest, some of his interviews on these talk shows. He's pretty dry. He's pretty hysterical.
And again, very, very bright. And he plays a different character in each one, which you can really appreciate. So everything from in Waiting for Guffman, he was the very effeminate, yet married, gay but doesn't know he's gay, director in a small town in Missouri. He's going to put on the show for them. And then the next one in the dog show, he's a true redneck from the Carolina, with the drawl and the whole bit. So he plays a different character in almost everything he does. But he has a cadre of his cast is the same, and they're really brilliant people. I mean, Michael McKean and Catherine O'Hara and all of these great Jonathan Michael Higgins. They're all in the same movie. It's kind of a dream, I think, to do that. They're small budget and great actors playing off of one another. So that would probably be my dream, to do something like what he's doing.
Well, you've got a movie coming out. We're going to get into a clip a little bit later, but and without going through all of these things as in depth, but just to run down the list a little bit. For action films, you suggested Raiders of the Lost Ark. The original, not the sequels, are high on your list. Buddy cop picture, Lethal Weapon. Now, is there really a genre for buddy cop pictures?
Yeah, there kind of is. I mean, believe it or not, you would probably call it action, but there have been so many makes of buddy cop films anymore. I mean, even to the latest one, which was not that good, which was Bruce Willis and I'm drawing a blank.
The girl?
No, the guy from 30 Rock. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Alec Baldwin?
No, the
30 Rock.
No, the black guy.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Tracy Morgan. Okay.
So there have been a lot of them.
I go for the old stuff.
No doubt. No, the old stuff is phenomenal too. But I got to have the popcorn at the movie kind of guy,
Okay.
and there's a lot of different.
All right. Best endings: A Sixth Sense and Digstown. Best tearjerker, and then I love what you wrote here. This is what Paul wrote to me. I said, "Give me your favorite movie," and I got 2 pages. Right? He says, "Best tearjerker, or as we guys call it, the I am not crying. There is something in my eye movie." And you have It's a Wonderful Life and Field of Dreams. Now, on that one, I can relate to both of those movies.
Yeah.
They're both phenomenal. And I have to tell you, Field of Dreams is one that gets me to cry.
No doubt. I mean, anyone who's ever played baseball or had a dad.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, yeah. So we're all in that
and
boat
I've also
together.
been on the side of the dad, coaching the kid. So
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun until he didn't want to play for me anymore. But anyway, Christmas movie, Christmas Story, and the Santa Claus One. Now I like this one here. You have heist movie. Now is there really a genre for heist movies?
No, but
it's just a Paul Deasy category.
Yeah, it is definitely a Paul Deasy category because you have to appreciate. I think we all like a good heist movie, and it's why in some of the ones that I gave you, I said and I know you love the older films,
right?
And the Rat Pack, and of course the original Ocean's 11 was a brilliant movie, but one of the things that they didn't do back then that they're doing now, which is why the first Ocean or the Ocean's 11 after that with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, we like these days to see the guys get away with it. The original one, they didn't. All that money burned up in the casket, if you recall.
Yeah, I do recall. You're right.
And if I just ruined it for somebody, I'm sorry. No, I apologize.
What, the old one?
The old one.
If they haven't seen it by now, they're not seeing it, okay, Paul? You're not ruining it for anybody, okay? I mean...
Well, you and I talked about how much we travel, and even traveling overseas, I'm watching 6-7 movies when I'm on a plane.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not traveling as much as you are, at least not anymore, that's for sure. And then you have, I like this one here. And of course, like you said, in the heist movie, you had Ocean's 11, Snatch, and The Score. And then you have, my vote goes to the remake of Thomas Crown Affair. Now, is the remake the one with Renee Russo?
Yes.
I love her.
Yeah, that was awesome. And also, Pierce Brosnan was quite good in it. And the original is great, too. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
With Steve McQueen.
And I do like the Oceans. I mean, obviously with Sinatra and those guys, but even the new stuff with George Clooney and Brad Pitt,
Right.
I love those.
Well, the dialogue between the two of them, and even the unspoken dialogue and finishing each other's sentences, was very
They're like
natural.
the modern version of the Rat Pack, and
Yeah.
to me, George Clooney is a throwback to those old
Big
days.
time. Yeah, he is.
Because of his aunt.
It's funny you say that. Judy's my wife is Judy Crowell, for those of you that don't know that.
You have your Judy, and I have my Judy.
There we go. Judy Garland.
That's right. Okay, that's my Judy.
But there was before I think the economy crashed a few years back. There was word that George Clooney was going to be involved in a casino out in Las Vegas, and it was going to be old school. It was going to be like the Rat Pack, and it was going to be, you'd come in your tuxedo.
He grew up
Yeah,
around
no
that.
doubt.
His Aunt Rosie, Rosemary Clooney. I mean, she was known in L.A. for throwing these parties, and she might not have been the biggest star, but she was a star,
No
and she
doubt.
was a great singer. But she had all the celebrities loved her. They all came to her house, and George Clooney would be running around as a little boy when you had all these mega Hollywood stars.
When
there.
I heard this was happening, Judy and I were thrilled, and I don't mean Judy Garland. I mean my wife Judy Crowell.
Right.
But we were thrilled because I thought that's what I would love to do, is go out there and get dressed up and be in the tuxedo. We're the ones that still love to do that.
Well, if you ever do that, can you kind of give me a ring? Because you see, I mean, that's
your.
I love that.
But I also, at the same time, being somewhat of a realist, I said to Judy, I love that this is what I'm hearing is going to happen, but it's never going to work. Because after the initial push of everybody wanting to go see if they see George Clooney, then it's going to be people in the flip-flops and the,
it's
Hawaiian
Vegas.
shirt, and they're going to want to go to the buffet.
Vegas is a great town. This is my view on it. I spent about 6 months there in 2001, I believe, or 2000 or 2001 on a business project, and I lived in hotels for 6 months. But to me, it's a great place for a weekend.
Oh yeah,
maybe even a week, but it's a seedy town. When you live there, I mean, the people that live there, they mostly want to hang out in bars, and I'm not really a drinker, you know. I like the Strip, and people who live there don't go to the Strip unless they work there.
That's right.
But it's a seedy town. I'm sorry.
And the truth is, I go there usually once a year, as I'm sure you do.
For JCK,
for the
I have to
JCK
go.
show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Sometimes I go
I
twice.
don't even get to ever enjoy the town as much as I'd like, because you know what it's like when you're working. First of all, I have to say this about Larry. I mean, honestly, you got a great setup here.
You like this?
And I'm amazed at your energy, because, you know, here you're working all day and then you come and do this. If I have to work and stop at the post office the same day, I'm exhausted.
First of all, I know that's BS, but thank you for the compliment, because you're in great shape, and that didn't happen by accident. You work at it, okay? You work at your diet, you play basketball, you take 25-year-old kids to school on the basketball court. You go out there like, take it easy on me, or you tell them, bring it, and you end up beating them, okay? Yeah. So, you know, to come out here and say that, you know, you're exhausted, I know you're just trying to make an old man look good, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
I have to kiss up to the host at a certain point, don't I?
Yeah, but one of these days we are going to get on the basketball court,
Absolutely.
and I know you're going to wipe the floor with me. But I'll tell you, if I ever get back in shape, I could give you a good game.
All right,
because that was my sport. I played high school basketball.
I like it. You're on.
I played high school.
Well, you know, I didn't. I was actually in 3 other sports in high school.
Okay,
but my dad was a coach.
I told you were a coach,
and he was a damn good one. I mean, he was. This is interesting. He was coaching a school that had about 200 students combined, grades 5 through 12, and I was the only kid in my family. I've always kind of, I guess, walked to the beat of a different drummer.
Right.
It's the only kid in my family that didn't go to my dad's school, and I went to this huge high school. Our graduating class was about 20. I'm sorry, it was 1,300. Was a graduating class.
Mine too. Mine was about 1,300,
and
which is big.
And so my school would play my father's school. And my dad coached the 9th grade team, and then the varsity team, because he was the administrator of the school, and they just didn't have that many people. I mean, it was a very small private school, but he was competing against schools of that size.
Okay.
And winning with his 5th and 6th and 7th players would be guys who never played basketball.
Here's one of my favorite movies, and now hearing your story,
Hoosiers.
Bingo. I was going to say, because you were the way you were the story you were telling about your dad reminded me immediately of Hoosiers, because coaching can.
It was amazing, and it's funny. I wished, and he's now deceased, but I wish that if he had other opportunities in his life, I would have loved to see him coach on the collegiate level.
Yeah.
And because he really was something else. He just got something out of those kids that was amazing to me.
Well, that's awesome that you can remember your dad like that. That's pretty cool. Continuing on this quick list here. Now here, this is interesting.
Yes.
You called it chick flicks, okay? Now, to me, I don't know if I would call these chick flicks, either one of these. To me, they're just romantic comedies.
Well,
to me, a chick flick is more like An Affair to Remember or something like that, a little more serious. But I love both these movies.
Chick flicks, from a guy's perspective, has a very negative connotation, right?
I love chick flicks. I'm sorry, but but I agree with you. Okay.
No, it does, and some of them are like, I've seen some where I'm like, "Well, did you cry?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I paid $7 to see it." But
I paid $7. I'm crying. Okay.
Yeah, but because it wasn't that good. But no, those were brilliant movies, but they would still fit in the genre of a chick flick.
We're talking about Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally.
Correct.
And so I thought, just for fun, okay, I would show one scene. Because I mean, I can't show scenes from all these movies. You gave me 2 pages, all right? But that's cool.
I was trying to overload your brain so you wouldn't show any clips.
Okay, well, I want to show. It's a short clip. It's not a long one.
Okay.
And of course, I love the scene in Sleepless in Seattle. We're not going to show this, but when Tom Hanks is telling his little kid, the kid said his girlfriend had cable.
Yeah.
And they watched Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
And he went crazy, and he said, "That movie scared the crap out of every man in America."
That's right.
What are you watching that? I couldn't find that clip. I wanted to show.
Well, and then the arguing with the son, and 6 times. No, wait, 7. One in college.
Yeah, that's right. But When Harry Met Sally, I mean, this is one of my all-time favorite scenes. Mm-hmm. You know the scene I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and show it, if we could. You got that one queued up, Ronnie? All right, let's just a quick one. It's a shorty.
What do you do with these women? You just get up out of bed and leave?
Sure.
Well, explain to me how you do it. What do you say?
Just have an early meeting, early haircut, early squash game.
You don't play squash.
They don't know that. They just met me.
That's disgusting.
I know. I feel terrible.
I'm so glad I never got involved with you. I just would have ended up being some woman you had to get up out of bed and leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and go clean your andirons. And you don't even have a fireplace. Not that I would know this.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
Yes, it is. You are a human affront to all women, and I am a woman.
Hey, I don't feel great about this, but I don't hear anyone complaining.
Of course not. You're out the door too fast.
I think they have an okay time.
How do you know?
I mean, how do I know? I know.
Because they...
Yes, because they...
How do you know that they're really...
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
Get out of here.
Why? Most women at one time or another have faked it.
Well, they haven't faked it with me.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Oh. Right. That's right. I forgot. You're a man.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It's just that all men are sure it never happens to them, and most women at one time or another have done it, so you do the math.
You don't think that I could tell a difference?
No.
Get out of here.
Oh. Ooh.
Are you okay?
Oh. Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh, yes. 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 Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Still one of the great cameos and ad libs of all time.
Cameo.
Yeah. Rob Reiner's mother.
Yes.
In that scene. And I have used that line, not in the same circumstance.
I'll have what she's having?
Yes. I know this is going to be stretchy, but picture me that I'm at a bar.
Okay.
And somebody...
That's not hard to picture,
And somebody else in the bar or at the restaurant does something either embarrassing or it's clumsy or breaks their glass, and I'll just say, I'll have what they're having.
Okay. Classic. All right. Going back to the thing, you got Westerns, you got Best Dialogue, Pulp Fiction. Best Dialogue in a movie with the worst acting, Clerks, Musical, Chicago, Epic, Braveheart. Really nice job on the list, Paul. Thank you so much. This is going to be the example I will use for all future guests. I'll say, here's something that another guest had sent
Put pressure on them. That's right.
You know, but
see, I don't want one of these skimpy little lists.
But you know, it's not only that you made the list, but you made up your own categories, and I think that is really that's. Now, listen, I got a little surprise. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I like to make it nice for my guests here. I have a green room out there. We put out some food.
It's very. It's, as I said, it's an amazing spread.
Well, thank you. But I got a little surprised because I asked you when you were in town last week, do you have a favorite wine? And so I got this bottle right here. And Paul told me, yeah, my favorite wine is Big Ass Cab. And I said, wait a minute. I thought he was joking because I really don't know wines. And we are planning to have a wine guest on, by the way. His name is Weston Horde. Yeah, he's a 30-year-old. He lives out here in St. Paul. I've known Weston for probably since he was about 17 years old. He spent a few years over in Italy. He's now representing vineyards from Italy over here into the distributors. And he's a total...
Like a true sommelier.
I mean, yeah, he knows. He's incredible. And he's a young guy. So I'm letting him teach me. We're trying to work out our schedules. I hope to have him end of February or March. We'll have him in here. And anyway... So I don't know wines that well. So Paul tells me, yeah, my favorite wine is Big Ass Cab. And I thought he was joking, like playing a joke on me, like Big Ass Cab. But you said it was no joke.
No.
And I went out and here it is. Big Ass Cab. I have no idea if it's any good.
No, to be fair, it's my favorite wine bottle.
Oh.
but it's not my favorite wine. I mean,
Well, you gave me another one, and I want you to know that I went.
They didn't have it.
They were out of it.
Yeah.
The store I went to.
There's a couple, as far
What
as...
was it,
Rosso di Montalcino. And if you love a good Italian wine and you're on a budget, you can never go wrong with a Rosso di Montalcino, because the best... Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. This is what we can't do.
No, but this is what you're going to do.
Oh, that's what I'm going to do. This is what we can't do when we're on, Shop NBC.
No, but we can do it here.
We can do it on the web.
And I want to get a couple of glasses, or if we could...
I'm going to wait for the mic.
Jonathan, if you could do me a favor and just bring in a couple of Acorn TV mugs. We drink from mugs here because, I don't have branded wine glass.
I'm comfortable with that.
You are?
I'm comfortable with out of a paper cup.
You're comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying you're uncomfortable.
No, I said I'm very comfortable with that.
All right.
I don't stand on ceremony. No, but truthfully...
you did that like you've done that before. You're well practiced. You've been practicing, Paul.
I had to do it blindfolded one time. It was
really?
It was a test before Judy would agree to marry me.
Can
I open a bottle of wine?
I went to buy a corkscrew. This was, I don't know, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, whatever it was. And I don't drink wine, but I had to have it here for company. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I want a really good one. I don't want like that little cheap thing.
Right,
and so they brought out a thing that was like $200.
Oh, yeah, you don't need that.
And I go, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
$200 to open a bottle? So I ended up going for, I think this was like 15 or 19 or something. But I couldn't even believe these things that open these bottles.
Well, it's interesting that you bring this, because one of the things...
Did you pour me?
I didn't know if you said you didn't drink wine. So
I can have a little bit.
Okay,
I have to go back to Shop NBC just a little bit
later. It's going to take another 2 or 3 minutes for it to get to the right temperature.
So we don't...
Yeah, just let's okay. And I'll tell you why. And this will be another one of my quirks. If you think I'm anal about the list here, I'm anal about red wine.
Okay.
Because one of the things that drives me crazy is, well, first of all, everybody always assumed I'm just a beer drinker guy. Because you go play basketball with the guys and you have a few beers.
Every time I see you, you've got a beer bottle in your hand.
So people, yeah, that's true.
He's in the green room. No, I'm kidding. That's not true.
No, but I have an okay palate for wine as well. And but one of the things that I'm a stickler about is that it's served at the right temperature. And most people, when you ask them about red wine,
I had this in the refrigerator.
That's fine. That's perfect.
Okay.
At home in Florida, we have a wine refrigerator, and we have our reds at about 58.
Okay.
And the whites are at about 42. And the whites can stand to be a little cooler, so that we can put those in the regular refrigerator as well. But most people in the United States, when you ask about a red wine, and it comes out 70 to 80 degrees, like room temperature. And that's really not the way it was meant to be.
It's got to be chilled.
Yeah, and I've had these discussions with waiters that would say...
This is pretty cold.
Yeah, that's why I say to give it a few minutes.
Okay.
Because
it's a little too cold.
It'll suppress the flavor being that cold.
Okay.
But it'll warm up to about 68. That's perfect.
Where is this one from?
Is
it Italy?
Then that's California.
Oh, it's California.
This one's California. No,
good.
Yeah, my favorites are actually, as I said, if you like great value, Brunello di Montalcino is probably my favorite wine in the world, and that's an Italian. It's a pure Sangiovese. And then the way it goes, they take a pure Sangiovese, and after they make the wine, it spends 2 years in the oak and 3 years in the bottle before they release it. So it's basically 5 years old by the time you get to drink it.
And it's just smooth.
It's very smooth. And for as good a wine as it is, it's much more affordable than, say, going to get a Bordeaux from France or.
It would be kind of fun to do almost like a home shopping thing, selling wine.
Oh yeah,
right? Probably illegal.
Well, no.
Liquor over the state lines.
No, you can do it. But in fact, we did that at HSN.
Did you?
And I think they did it at QVC as well. And I'd been at both places.
There's so much to get into with you. We're just cocking around right here, and we haven't touched on anything yet. And I've got a big, list of things that I want to do with you here. But, you mentioned QVC, HSN, and I want to get to that stuff too. Now would be a good time. Let's just take a little time out just for a second.
Stop and smell the roses.
Well, you let me know when it's time to take
I'll let you know.
Yeah. But we already did one call out earlier tonight before you got here for the free giveaway. And I think it's time that we do another one because we haven't done one with Paul here. And after all, it is Paul that is giving away these gifts. And I want to thank you, Paul, because I've seen both your books over at Shop NBC, and they're really, really nice books. So tonight, we're giving away 2 books, okay, to 2 different people. One is Colored Gemstones, and the other one is Opals. The Colored Gemstones is about a $30 value. The Opals about a $20 value, and you see them here on the screen right there. And what you're going to have to do, this is your second call out, so please send in your chances now to get in the drawing. You're going to send in an email to contact@acorn.tv. And in the body of the email, you're going to put your first name, last name, city, and state. So we just want name, city, and state. We don't need your address right now. We don't need your phone numbers right now. But here's the key. And I think we're going to let Paul give the secret word.
Uh-oh.
You must put the secret word in the subject line, Paul.
It is Rebel. R-E-B-E-L.
That's
Rebel.
right. You're going to put Rebel in the subject line. It must be in the subject line. And the reason we do that, Paul, is they must watch the show.
Sure.
In order to participate.
Which
And they
reminds
don't know.
me, a movie I neglected to say, Rebel Without a Cause.
Well, the reason that we're using the word Rebel tonight is in the Classic Film Zone. In your honor, I picked Rebel Without a Cause.
How about that?
And that's what we're going to feature. And normally, as long as you brought it up, our Classic Film Zone girl, Savvy Avi, I hate to tell you this, folks. I got a text from her just about 30 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, and her computer has completely crashed. So unfortunately, Savvy Avi is not going to present the Classic Film Zone. I will do the best I can to handle it and cover it. And we're still featuring Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean. I was thinking, like, what movie? You know, I like the old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't give me. I was wondering. I asked you your favorite movie because I was hoping to get something. I should have said pre-1970, although you did give me It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, and the original Ocean's 11, I believe, was pre.
Yeah, I know it was, but I didn't want to do that one. You know, we had just kind of more recently
done a Rat Pack thing.
Done some Sinatra with Guys and Dolls and everything. So anyway, I was thinking, all right, for Paul.
Citizen Kane, how about that?
Well, it's a little late now, Paul. Okay. I have Citizen Kane, of course, 1939, RKO, of course.
Golden years.
Wells, and you know that would have been a nice choice. But I'm very happy with this one. I thought for Paul, you know, he's an actor, and I can't wait to share with you his movie trailer. I think it's pretty cool. But it's a movie I definitely want to see. I think everybody seen that trailer is intrigued.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's Paul like you've never seen him before.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. You seem pretty natural actually in that from just the trailer. But I was thinking, okay, for Paul Deasy, he's an actor, and I'm thinking either James Dean or possibly Marlon Brando. But we just did Brando a couple weeks ago on the Waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, maybe I can come back with Streetcar Named Desire. But I thought, we haven't done James Dean. I thought this might be somebody you can connect with or whatever.
And by the way, one of Brando's last movies,
Godfather, or one of those, or
was The Score.
I didn't see that, and when I saw it on your list, to be honest, I didn't make any connection with it.
I thought at that point, I'm sorry to interrupt,
no, that's good.
But it had 3 great actors of their generations, all in the same film. Ed Norton.
Yeah, I know.
And it had Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando. All.
I'm going to have to go get it now.
It has a pretty good ending too.
Yeah, we haven't had time. I want to give you the 25-cent tour. I'll show you my my DVD collection in the other room. But anyway, so tonight we are featuring Rebel Without a Cause, and that is the reason why the secret word tonight is Rebel. It was either going to be Rebel or Deasy, and I just figured, let's go with Rebel. So
sure.
Anyway, Deasy is a rebel.
You can try that. That's
okay. So now is the time.
Now.
Okay, so you took a sip?
I did.
Okay.
I've actually taken 3.
It smells good.
It's funny that you say that too, because
I like that. You know why? It's kind of dry.
Yeah.
I like dry.
I don't like real sweet wines. No. But it's funny. You just said the crux. Now he mentioned the books that are going to be the giveaway tonight, and it was. Listen, I had no illusions about my prowess as an author. The books were written because many people, when I was on QVC, because I was known as the gem expert there, had asked, when are you going to write a book? And I'd say, I don't know. And I'm thinking to myself, well, never. And but then Judy and I left QVC. We had, in our business, we have non-compete clauses, so we had to take some time off. So I said, I'm going to try and write this thing. So I get up every morning, and I treated it like a job, and I wrote for a couple of hours until I quit making sense. And Judy she was the editor, so she would tell me when I quit making sense. Oh, you got to redo that.
Mm-hmm.
And So it was amazing. It was interesting, but I wanted to educate people because people get very intimidated about buying gems, just like I think people get intimidated about buying wines.
I get intimidated buying wines.
And I would give the same advice for buying wine as I would for gemstones. And I always say a couple of things. I say, first of all, the most important thing with a color gem is color.
Yeah.
And if you like the color and you can afford it, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know what's more valuable, less valuable. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Same thing with the wine. You know, I've been around more snooty people who drink wine, and they give me something that I've tasted, and I'm thinking it's $300 a bottle. And I think, well, it sounds like they had an old sock in it.
I don't like it. I don't care what it costs.
Right.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is like it.
Yeah. I mean, this I actually like because it's very dry.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I don't want to be sloppy. I want to be dry.
Hey, I'm not going to suggest any little cab. I'm going to suggest a big ass cab.
Yeah. So listen, this is pretty. You know, I was surprised. You told me it was fairly inexpensive. This was almost $20.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not $100,
Right.
but I was thinking, okay, maybe $10, $12.
Well,
it was $18 for this bottle.
It's become more popular since we. I would get it on sale.
The
for
other
like
one that they were
13,
out of
14.
was like 25 or something. But they were out.
That's too much for a Rosso.
Rosso di Maltagino.
Yeah, you can.
But they were out of it anyway. So
Right.
they were,
I can find some great Rossos for like.
I would have bought it. They were out of it.
$13,
Yeah.
$14, $15.
So then at least
they're really comparable in price to a Chianti.
Okay.
But a better wine than a Chianti.
All right. Now, you know, I was going to go back to the beginning. I know you grew up in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I had Dave King in here last week, and
My brother from another.
and
mother.
that's what he said. He said, when you're going to have Paul next week, you ask him, and you know, he'll tell you we're brother from another mother. We're both from Pittsburgh. Both went to Penn State. And I said,
That's
well,
right.
really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. But and I do want to go back to the beginning. But before I do, I want to just, as long as you kind of touched on QVC and the gems and everything, you know, how many years were you at QVC?
7.
7 years. And you were a host selling all different products.
Everything, yeah.
TVs, computers, gems, jewelry, watches, you know, whatever it was, bed sheets, all of it. Okay. And there's we have something in common here that maybe I've kind of little told you, but you know, but you gravitated towards the gems.
Yeah.
Talk about that. How did that happen? What was it about the gems?
It happened fairly early on. And the truth is, it's funny you ask that because people have asked me, and hosts on the air, now that I'm a guest, will ask me, have you always been a rock hound? Have you always, you know, and I said, no, when I first got into this business, which was in 1989, I knew nothing about gems.
Me too.
I didn't know a darn thing. And in 1989 is when I started as a host at Home Shopping Network before I went to QVC. And quite literally about 50 to 60% of the airtime was spent selling jewelry back then. Since it's changed. But almost every, like 3 out of 5 days, that's what I was doing. And I said, I better learn something about this if I want to keep my job. And so I took a very small continuing education course at the University of South Florida because that was close to where I was working. And I went there with the expectation that I'm just going to do this to learn, and I'm going to be bored out of my skull. So I take the course, and I was completely blown away. I was fascinated by every aspect of it. And so it compelled me to learn more and more. And the more I learned, the more I was telling those stories on the air. And the customers loved it. And admittedly, it was a different style than almost any shopping host had ever done before. So much so, Larry, that when I got to QVC, they didn't even let me do gem shows.
Really?
Yeah, well, because they in their minds it was a woman's domain, which is interesting because in the gem business it's a very male-dominated business.
Definitely, absolutely, 100%.
So they wouldn't let me do any shows, and they said, you know, we want you to do it more like, you know, like Lisa Robertson does. We want you to romance it, you know. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not me, but so I said, okay, you know, I'll do that. And so they let me do some shows. I still was doing it kind of my way, and it did very well. And they're like, well, that was better.
You know, to me, QVC is absolutely amazing. I'll tell you why.
It's a machine.
It's a machine, and I'll tell you why they're so amazing. They get massive numbers, they get massive sales, and they've got everything down to a science. But yet, sometimes, and I was there for about a year, but as a guest, you know, we didn't do a lot of shows over that year, but I did some. But sometimes I just don't understand their thinking. And yet they still produce huge numbers, because one of the advantages, as far as I'm concerned, about doing stuff, selling on TV, is you have this audience, you have this opportunity for 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it is, or the course of an hour, to really educate about things that they can't do in a retail store.
That's absolutely true.
You know, and so you're saying, and I mean, it's absolutely, I think that's why Shop NBC has done so incredibly well with the watches. The guys who buy the watches on Shop NBC, they literally know more about watches than if they went into a jewelry store and dealt with a retail clerk that's his full-time job, because they've learned it on Shop NBC.
No doubt about it. And I'll say the same thing about the gem customers there.
Right.
I get more misinformation from people behind the counter sometimes at a jewelry store than I know that our customers would know a lot more.
There's no question about it, because of the education factor. And yet you're telling me that, you know, QVC, with all of their, you know, brilliance and everything else, is telling you, just romance it. You know, let's not get too carried away here, you know.
You know what? But the truth is, and to be fair to
I'm
everybody,
not trying to bash QVC,
no.
but
to be fair to everybody, the truth is it's always a balance. And even when, after I became known as their gem expert, and they did come around, they sent me to all these places. I went to Africa, I went to the mines there, I went to Australia, you know, but you have to find your own style. And even when they asked me to teach the new hosts that are coming in, to teach them about gems, the first thing I told every one of them, I said, don't do it the way that I do it. You have to find your own comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we have a little in common, because, you know, I wouldn't have my job today for Sterling Original. It's given, you know, there's been an indirect road and everything. But if I didn't start on a small home shopping station,
Mm-hmm.
and the funny thing is, I got the job in the conference room on an interview by talking about a watch, and I knew nothing about watches at the time. I just told the story about how I got the watch, and he liked me and he hired me. But, you know, eventually I've obviously learned about watches. But so he said, you'd be good to do our watch shows. And they had watch shows like on Friday mornings and all this. But I had to do one overnight a week. And my first overnight, they had me basically sitting there. I had to learn for a couple of weeks, working with their Gemstone guy. Mm-hmm. And now you say you gravitated there because it was a matter of, you know, if you want to keep your job and all that. For me, I can't explain it, but I got drawn into the rocks. I really did. There's something about the gemstones. And I was dealing with, you know, Brazilian guys from South America. I was dealing with a Sri Lankan fellow who later became a business partner of mine, and we did a lot of things together. And he had beautiful stones from Sri Lanka. I mean, the best. And you'd learn from the guys from the mines. I mean, there's no question about it. And I went to the general manager and I said, you know, if it's okay with you, I just prefer. And I did a couple of watch shows and I hated it. And I thought, you know,
look at you now.
I mean, I didn't know literally a quartz from a chronograph from a mechanic. I didn't know any of that stuff. I really didn't. And there really wasn't a great learning situation there. We're talking about a small station, okay, C-band satellite and everything out of Torrance. But I really got drawn into the stones and I loved it. I said, if it's okay with you, I'd just as soon, you know, just do the gem shows.
Well, it's easy to get drawn in and not to be shallow about it. But I remember the first gem show I went to, which wasn't one of the big ones. I held in my hand like a $50,000 opal, which was, you know, that big.
Yeah, well,
and you know, it's portable wealth. Yeah. There's nothing that you can have in a smaller size that's worth more.
These guys pull little parcels out of their pocket up here and they go, you know, and it's the kind, you know, I mean, it's the good stuff.
But it's the appreciation also of how difficult I mean, Mother Nature guards her treasures very, very carefully and selfishly.
Well,
and so I've been in the mines for weeks at a time where they find nothing. And to get that appreciation, I mean, I think we spoil the customer to a degree because they feel, you know, if your computer, sorry, Avi, if your computer crashes right now, there's another one available and they'll make more.
Yeah.
But when they run out of
Tanzanite or whatever,
or sapphires or Larimar or anything else, unless they find some more, you don't go to the Larimar tree and find more.
Right. And when you're really, you know, into something, and you know, I know you're this kind of personality as well. For me, I got into the gems. All of a sudden, your thirst for knowledge about that subject just goes boom, 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 boom. I want to know more. I want to learn more.
And the customer feels the same way.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, well, you know, Paul has heard me say I used to be in the jewelry business, or I used to sell gems. I was into gems, and maybe he doesn't believe me.
No, you're never out of the jewelry business.
No,
just when you think you're out, they suck you back in.
Well, anyway, I thought it would be kind of fun. I have a little clip.
I love it.
It's only listen. I have probably over 1,000 hours of tape, and it's on tape. It's VHS, and I hope it's still good. It's in my storage locker in California.
Okay.
I still got to go back and get that stuff. I'm paying $175 a month. I've been paying for 7 years. I haven't even visited my stuff. I've got a massive trunk there with all these tapes. So I have a lot. But as far as what I had here to show you, it's literally like 30 seconds.
I
okay.
can't wait.
But I'm going to show you, there's one clip you'll see me in 2001 when I was much more advanced. But there's also a clip where I made, you won't believe this, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, I made, Pacific time, a sale for $59,000.
Nice.
One sale in 1996, 4 gems. And you're going to see and I have that whole thing on tape, the whole presentation. The presentation took me almost a half an hour. But I had one caller on the line that was interested, and we made the sale. But when I show this, I want to qualify this, Paul. This was literally, I had been with this Panda America Shopping Network not even 3 weeks when I did this show. So my knowledge was zero. I knew nothing at that time. I was kind of like faking it, but I had Francisco and Hetzi. I had Munir from Sri Lanka right there to help me.
Sure.
And I was the guy bringing it there. So if you have that tape,
I would
Ronnie,
love to see it.
Here it is, 30 seconds. Larry in 1996, and I was a lot thinner then. I was 180 pounds. So let's check it out.
Get ready to shop. And now, here's your host.
Woo! Good Saturday afternoon to you, wherever you may be. My name is Larry Megan. This is the world's finest jewelry show and home shopping television right here on the National TV Liquidators, and that is sensational. That is a very large center stone. As you can see, it's a 1.12 carat center stone. All the emeralds are custom cut to fit the mounting. They're top grade emeralds, and you have diamonds all the way around in a beautiful antique setting. Really, really nice. Let's move on. $27.99, and again, it's got that Art Deco styling, really nice styling. I love the mounting on that, and again, it's got the best intensity of color. This is another hot pink sapphire. It's hot pink. It's from Sri Lanka, beautifully cut, great saturation of color. No zoning in this piece whatsoever. Okay, let's move on.
You're watching the Panda America Shopping Network.
You won't believe what we have tonight in Gemstones. If you like Ceylon sapphires, boy, oh man, do we have Ceylon sapphires tonight. I'm so excited to show you these sapphires. They're incredible. If you like sapphires, call it. We are back. We're going to go to a break. Get the break ready. Everybody, we are back. They're sold. Mwah! I love you. My name is Larry Megan. Do you have the break ready? When we come back, folks, everybody call in. I'm going to give stones away. Well, you got to pay a little bit of money, but I'm going to give them just above cost. Fabulous sale. Thank you very much, Diane. Love you very much. Mwah! We're going to a break. We'll be right back.
First of all, man, you were a rock star, dude.
Oh, dog,
you were thin. You had the Mel Gibson hair thing going on.
Oh,
and then you got the dating game kiss.
Well, a lady bought that. There's a whole story behind that. She was an extremely wealthy lady. And when I left Panda America, I was there 11 months. I started my own jewelry business, which was called Phyllis Nicole Fashion Accessories. I had that business for 2 years. And that lady, Diane, she went on to, I did business with her, and she became my #1 client.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's just long story behind it.
Dude, that was great. I'm not kidding. That was great.
Well, earlier tonight, you said you have an opal book that you put out. And you mentioned a big, was it 30 carat, did you say? Or
a 50 I don't even remember.
Well,
there's $50,000.
Okay, well, when I started my own jewelry business, I called it Phyllis Nicole Fashion Accessories, and I had literally all the best sources in Los Angeles, including opals. I dealt with a guy named Dag, who maybe you've come across. He's an Australian fellow, and I hosted
I have met him. I've seen him out on the Tucson show.
Yeah, nice fellow, really nice guy, and a little bit kind of kooky, crazy guy, but he was a super nice guy, and he was always nice with me. And I would host his show every week. I came in during the day to host his shows because I was doing 5 overnights a week, but I learned so much about opals from him, about the different mines and everything. And anyway, when I started my jewelry business, I did not only, new stuff and modern and all gem stuff, no calibrated goods or anything like that. Everything was, onesies. I wasn't on TV anymore doing it. I had my own direct mail business, and I dealt with privates and everything. So in one of my catalogs, which cost me a lot of money, I had an antique and estate dealer that I was very close with, and I had a 26 karat Lightning Ridge black opal.
Yeah.
Okay, and I scanned it tonight to
Yeah,
show
what
it.
year was this?
1997.
97.
Okay. Anyway, it sold for $37,000, and I sold it. I had to sell it for less.
I'm not kidding. That's a great price.
No, it really is. And
That's a great
I
price.
actually ended up taking $30,000 for it. It cost me $25,000.
Yeah.
I made $5,000 on the piece.
Yeah,
but
even still to this day, and you know, 2,500, 5,000, depending on the patterns of the play of color.
Right.
You know, per carat wholesale.
in my catalog, what I did is I scanned a couple of pages. Ronnie, it's in one of the players it's PNFA for Phyllis Nicole Fashion Accessories. Might be in the other player, maybe. PNFA 1 and 2. Here it is on 1. That's it. This is a page out of my catalog here, and you see that big brooch in the center. This is in what I called my Grand Concourse collection, and that is a 26.5 karat Lightning Ridge black opal.
You got diamonds around it too.
Diamonds around it and everything. Like I said, I sold it for $30,000. My cost was $25,000, so I made $5,000 on that piece. But you see the Art Deco styling right there. And I thought, just for fun, I don't have many of these left. I made 10,000 of these. You can't keep this.
I can't.
It's the only one I have. But
All
this
right.
is the catalog. And
Wow.
And if you turn to the back, there's another page I had in there because I thought it has another.
Sapphire?
That's a sapphire.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
22,000. But if you turn to the back, this gives you the prices. That piece I think was number 80 or something like that. But you can hold it up if you want, Paul. But
80.
yeah,
Right.
I don't want to make this show about me. But
That's the Burmese ruby. So Lightning Ridge 79.
It's number
7. 26.5 carats, very fine Lightning Ridge black opal, 3.5 carat total weight diamonds, set in platinum.
Yeah.
$37,500.
Yeah, and in my business, I would buy lists like Neiman Marcus Jewelry catalog buyers and Saks Fifth Avenue and those kinds of lists. I mailed out 10,000 of these, and it came in a beautiful vellum envelope and all that. And someone offered me, and I said, "What the heck? I'd rather a sale is $5,000 is better than no grand."
Oh, absolutely.
And how many $30,000 customers are you going to get? There was another picture in there that had a Lightning Ridge black opal from one of my favorite designers, a gentleman by the name of Andrew Sarosi. I don't know if you know Andrew or not. Hungarian fellow. Here it is on this shot right here. You see the one in the left-hand side there? Again, Lightning Ridge black opal. I sold that one also. I think that one was about $6,000.
And I'm sure people at home are sitting there saying, well, black opal, it's not black. Well, it isn't.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
no,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So it is still to this day my favorite gemstone on planet Earth.
This was my catalog, and I don't know how close you can see. This was me at 180 pounds right there back in 1997. There you go.
Like I said, rock star, right?
Yeah, rock star, schmock star. But
You're a rock
we had all this stuff. So I was in the jewelry business. I just wanted to show you that we do have something in common, and I gravitated to the rocks too.
Well, I knew that the very first time I saw you in the green room at Shop NBC.
Really?
We were talking gems. Yeah.
Oh, were we? Okay. By the way, we were having fun just chatting and stuff like that. If you notice on the screen there at home, just below the player, we've got a studio phone number 310, and we've also got the Skype video for Acorn TV. If you want to talk to Paul or me, you have any questions for Paul, please call in. We'll take your call. If you have Skype video, we'll put you on a split screen.
Love the questions.
Yeah, we'll love to talk to you, so feel free on that level. Okay, and now listen, before we go all the way back, I want to throw this out there too, because you mentioned Judy earlier tonight. Your wife is also in the home shopping business.
Yes, she is.
And you met her at QVC.
I did.
So let's hear about that, because that's well, as much as you want to tell, as much as you feel. Let's not get too personal.
I have no secrets.
But it's kind of interesting how hosts can meet and then they get married.
No,
Now, were you married before? Was she married before?
Yeah, she was married before, and I was married before. And when I moved up to Pennsylvania, I left HSN in 1997, and then I started my journey at QVC. Actually, it's funny. I left. This was unusual at the time. Well, actually, still unusual. I left HSN on a Friday, and I started at. There we are. Where'd you get those?
From your Facebook page.
You have your sources. There's my honey.
Yeah.
But I came up there, and I really didn't know anybody. I met Dave King, as you know, and Judy and I were very good friends. And
Before you went there, or no, you
no,
just became friends?
Became friends. And we would, if, one or the other didn't have anything going on or didn't have a date, would go have dinner or would go to see a movie. All very, friends.
Platonic.
Very platonic. Okay. And then, so now we got married, so we're no longer friends.
I don't believe that.
No,
in all those pictures, she looks so happy. And by the way, looking through all these pictures that I have on you and everything, it occurred to me that you and Judy kind of have a reverse, like Benjamin Buttons kind of thing going on, because in all these, as the pictures get more current, she looks younger and younger,
I know,
and you look older and older. It's like she's getting younger.
Thanks for noticing that, by the way.
But I mean, you can't help it. I mean, it's obvious. Pretty soon she's going to be wearing little bikinis and going to school again. I don't know what's going on.
It's very funny, and because we did start going out, and then there was a time when we knew that we were having feelings, and I fought it. And truly, because we were such.
You work together. You don't want to screw it up.
We were such good friends, and I thought, it was. I didn't want anything to affect our friendship, and then, but I finally came to the conclusion. I said, high risk, high reward. You know what I mean?
That's it. You only live once, Paul.
You only live once. But it was funny, if you ask her mother, her mother and dad are lovely. They live in Sarasota, not far from us, and if you ask her mother. She would tell, even once we started dating, we've been dating like a month. Well, she told all her friends we had been dating for like 5 years.
Is that right?
We've been dating since birth,
Why is that? I don't understand.
I don't know, just because it just seemed that way, I guess.
Maybe in her mind she was dating.
Oh, actually, I have an even better story. So before I get to that, though, my mother was still is a huge Judy Crowell fan. And so she would always talk to me when I got up to QVC, and she'd say, who I like up there? I love that Judy Crowell. She is so good on the air, and she never says, She's like the best host. And I'm like, well, thanks, Mom. Oh, no, you're good, too. But that Judy, she's really good.
Yeah. Well, tell me now, Judy, she has fashions or jewelry or both?
Jewelry.
Because didn't she have a Judy Crowell fashion line too?
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
where do I remember that from? Was it Shop NBC or was it
Shop NBC? Yeah,
not at QVC.
But she first of all, she's always been the most impeccable fashion dresser of all time, and she was known for that. And I think originally the idea was that she really wanted to do an entire line that would give you accessories and fashion and everything else. But the opportunity that came up where she is now was just too good to pass up.
Where, jewelry television?
Mm-hmm. And so she's, doing exactly what she wants. She's incredibly involved in the process. And I'd still love someday that we were doing the same thing at the same place. We were talking a little bit off the air about
because you guys are
travel.
never together. You're always flying.
No, we're always together. But when we're working, we're both working at the same time in different places. But then we end up meeting on the planes on the way home, but then our time at home. It's funny when I knew that this was great and it was forever. I told you we had that non-compete clause in our first year.
I want to ask you about that because did you guys both leave at the same time?
We staggered it a little bit.
She left first.
I left 4 months before she did
from QVC.
And
she had been at QVC how long?
Like 15 years.
15.
Yeah.
That's longer.
She was one of the originals. Yeah. And so that's when I started writing the book in that 4 months where we were overlapping. And then we were, planning the wedding and doing all that. And then after we got married and she was finally gone, we traveled for an entire year. We didn't leave each other's sight.
So did she leave because she was getting married to you, or?
Yeah, because that's a full-time. Being married to me is way too much work. It's a full-time job.
No, but I mean, you guys be together. She left, or
no? We had already been offered and accepted a job together at HSN.
So then you guys hosted together or guested?
No, we were hosts.
Husband and wife host?
No, not at the same time. We were both at the same channel.
You never hosted a show together, co-hosted, like Pam and Wes McCoy used to do over at Shop NBC.
We did at QVC a couple of times, actually.
Did you? Okay.
But we never co-hosted a show, I don't believe.
So they brought you on as husband and wife host, but to work separately.
Yes, correct.
And that's right in your backyard in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, we were two brands. I mean, it was Judy and it was Paul. So, So we spent 3 years there, but before that, the point was we literally didn't spend a day apart, not even a second apart.
Wow.
And it was great. And so, if you can do that.
That's pretty awesome. One of my favorite pictures I saw of you and Judy, here's a nice one right here. I assume this is either your wedding or somebody else's wedding. Let's take a look at this.
Let's see. Oh, that's actually, that is, believe it or not, the reception. We had a wedding.
Okay.
And then we had a reception. Now the wedding.
Let's go back to that.
Because my mom, we flew out from Hawaii, and my in-laws, Judy's parents, and my kids were the only people at the wedding. And that was at the Don Cesar Hotel in St. Petersburg, Florida. So that's what we did. Very small wedding. It was very intimate. It was phenomenal. It was fabulous. And then a month later, because we were still living in Pennsylvania at the time, we had the reception. So, of course, then I flew the kids up because they were living in Florida, and flew my mom back in from Hawaii, my brothers and sisters. So that was the reception in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania.
That doesn't even look like you, Paul. Is that you?
Yeah.
I guess your hair was black or something.
Yeah, it was darker back then.
You actually look like you're in better shape now than you were then. I don't know. Maybe
actually,
it's just maybe it's just the angle of the picture.
No, that's true.
Is it?
It's completely true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told Larry this story because I was always very active, and I was always very doing sports and athletics, and it got to the point very early on. In fact, when Judy and I were dating, and nobody knew that we were, so we thought.
Right.
Just assume everybody knows, but so we thought. And I had a really, really bad back.
Oh, so you couldn't work out?
I couldn't. It got to the point where I even went to my boss at the new place of business, which was at HSN. I said, I can't do fitness shows anymore.
Yeah, you had mentioned that to me. That's cool.
And I just had a really bad disc, and I thought it was done. I thought I couldn't play golf anymore, couldn't play hockey, couldn't play basketball. And I got a disc replacement it must have been in 2005. So about 6 years ago.
Okay, listen, we have one of our favorite viewers out there on the line, and he wants to talk to, I guess, both of us, but probably looks like Paul. His name is Mark Goldberg. I got to tell you about Mark. You're going to love his story. In fact, you guys will probably end up getting together in Florida. Mark, welcome to the show. We're going to put you on a split screen with Paul. Say hello to Paul.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Nice to talk to you, Mark.
Nice to talk to you. I have a question. On my multiple travels to Brazil, my wife fell in love with Alexandrite, so every time I would go down there, I would try to buy as much as the Alexandrite as I can.
True color change stone, yep.
And that was the thing, the clarity, and they always told me, don't look at it inside, go from the inside and bring it outside to see how fast it changes color or not.
That's correct.
Is that stone... they would tell me it's always on the rare side of it. Is that true?
It's one of the more rare stones, and that whoever told you that told you absolutely the truth. The story of Alexandrite was originally it was a purely a Russian stone, and commanded at its height probably $10,000 to $15,000 a carat. And then those mines were exhausted years ago, and then we were without it forever. And the only way you could get it is on the secondary market. Then they found the deposits in Brazil. And that kind of brought it back to the forefront for a little bit. But then those were quickly depleted. And the price was less than the Russian material because the color change wasn't exactly the same. So those were depleted. And now what we're getting, and there still is some Alexandrite to be had out there, but it's coming from a place called Orissa in India. Not as good as the Brazilian and certainly not as good as the Russian material, but it is still available in India.
I have a question for both of you, especially you, Paul. Have you ever seen Sri Lankan Alexandrite?
No, I haven't.
It's out there.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's not, massive or prevalent, but I've seen it, and it's pretty cool.
But
it's more the blue-green. It's not the purple red.
Not the green red, yeah.
Not the purple red. It's more the blue-green.
Well, Mark, speaking of Brazil, that's high on my list this year to go down and do some filming. I found some really fabulous, I think some of the best amethyst and citrine that I've ever seen. And so I'm going to be, I think, filming down there this year.
You are going to love this, Paul.
Okay.
Mark okay, his business, of course, I think Mark's got his hands in lots of businesses. He's in New York right now. He's calling from New York. But Mark has a company that he owns that they go into the Caribbean. And, I mean, they literally are spending tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, diving down to get recovered, buried treasure.
Yeah.
The recovery.
How about that? Like there's
the ocean, whatever it's called.
There's a big company in Tampa that does that too. He probably knows it, right? Odyssey.
Yes,
Yeah,
Odyssey is different. We do the the shallow diving, and we're under contract with countries where they're doing the 5 mile and what have you.
Correct.
Very interesting in Brazil. I also with the amethyst. When you go down here, you see they have nothing but these beautiful birds and made out of these amethyst stones and so forth. Weigh a ton. And bringing them, carrying these things back into the States and what have you there.
Yeah.
But about the Alexandrite, what I found very interesting is I don't know if it was HSN or QVC, they were selling some Alexandrite. And the prices just did not seem proper.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd take a test, and I bought like a ring like $500-600. It was so cloudy and just so
not the same. Yeah.
That unfortunately people can't appreciate the magnificence of that stone.
Yeah. Now, one thing that you might know, the color properties aren't the same, but one of the rarest stones out there right now, because you hear people talk about rare stones or one source stones, and it always drives me crazy as somebody who's always been trying to educate people about gems, because they'll talk about tanzanite, and then I hear all the stories, the mines are shutting down, or there's only one mine left, and I'll have to tell them, listen. I was at the mines. There's 3,000, or they say, the mines are flooded. They're not going to be around anymore. And the truth is, no. A mine is a hole in the ground. When it rains, it fills with water, and then they stop mining. But then when it dries out, they start mining again. But there's a mine in Turkey, and it mines a stone called zoltanite, which is another color change stone. And it's more of a kiwi green to like a raspberry. And it's not as dramatic, I don't think, a color change as the Alexandrite is, but it is one of the rarest stones on the planet, and it's all top grade that they get on Shop NBC.
And I'm surprised at what you just said. Because Larry just came out and said Sri Lanka, and the way they sold to me the Alexandrite is they said it was some mine in Africa and a small area in southern Brazil or somewhere in that area and they said it didn't exist anywhere else in the world. Now I'm hearing Larry saying Sri Lanka.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, the thing is that a lot of times, and I've also spoken to many hosts about this over the years, a lot of times they're parroting things that they've heard, or it's almost like the game telephone where we're all sitting around in a room, and I whisper something to you, and you whisper something to Larry, he whispers it back to me. By the time it gets back to me, the story's been so convoluted.
Right, and people will tell you whatever they want just to sell you the stone.
That's right.
I'm not talking about on TV. I'm just talking about dealers and stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
but the reality is most of the stuff, I'm sure, if you got it from HSN, because I was there when they were selling some of it, was from the Indian mine. It's called the Orissa mine. And it was okay. I mean, for what it was, for the price you were paying, it was really...
Yeah.
I mean, it was natural material, and that was good. Didn't have, the quality of the stones wasn't what you'd see, as you said, when you're buying truly a gem collector specimen.
Do you do a lot of Russian stuff? Not really.
Not as much. I did a lot of Russian jadeite recently.
Okay.
What I like to do, quite candidly, is I like to look for bargains that nobody else is doing. And this year, in fact, I'm going to.
You have to go for quantity too.
I do, but I want to keep a certain standard. So what I'm doing this year, and I'm telling your viewers this for the first time.
Okay.
I haven't even told my Facebook and my Twitter accounts this yet.
Spill.
I want to really concentrate on American mined gems this year.
Okay.
Because there's so much out there that, and Mark, you'll appreciate this too, that like around the world, everybody talks about it the way that you talk about your Alexandrite or the way that we talk about Colombian emeralds. That's the way they talk about turquoise in our country. And I've been there talking to the folks at
Is that in Arizona?
Yeah, well, it's in Arizona, Nevada. If you're thinking of Arizona, there's the Sleeping Beauty mine, which I thought was going to be shut down. But I just found out the lease has been renewed, so I'm going to do a lot of Sleeping Beauty this year, a lot of Kingman turquoise. But the Nevada stuff is really, I'm going to really do true collectors grade stuff and loose stone stuff this year. So for the true collectors out there,
now is Shop going to let you sell loose stones?
Yep.
Well, there's a switch.
See that?
But I mean, is it calibrated goods, or it's going to have to be?
No.
Onesies?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to sell one-offs? So they're going to be expensive.
It's going to be, yeah, they will be, and that's because it's going to be true collector grade.
Okay.
But it's going to be what I know has to happen to exist in the industry, is it's going to have to be a mix. I'll do some parcels that are calibrated goods that we can get people affordably into the art of gem collecting.
Right.
And then I'll have the people like Mark that are going to want to have
the better stuff,
a one of a kind, completely. You know how rare a natural turquoise is? I mean, everybody talks about it like it's. Every single miner I've ever spoken to in the industry, I'll say, what percentage would you say of turquoise in the world is stabilized? And they'll say 99%. And yet I have all these people. It's like when Harry Met Sally clip. Okay, everyone says, well, I don't have any stabilized turquoise, and I'm telling you 99% is. Do the math. So it is.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it's because of that lack of education that people have had, and everybody thinks stabilized is a bad word. Truth is, it's a great word. In fact, whenever I've received a phone call on the air from somebody, and they'll say, well, I had a turquoise one time, and all of a sudden it changed color on me. What happened?
Yeah.
And I said, well, it probably wasn't stabilized. Because, turquoise is very porous. But,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stones that, their colors will change. I mean, look at kunzite. They never talk about it on the air.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I always do.
I wouldn't wear kunzite in the daytime because the sun will fade it. You better wear your kunzites in the evening.
Sensitive to light, no doubt.
There's no question about it. But
I'd love to see your Alexandrite stones.
Be my pleasure. Matter of fact, Larry, what I'm going to do is I think you'll both get a big kick out of this. I think there's a time delay. I didn't mean to talk over you.
No problem.
I'm going to send you, Larry, a couple of pictures of a diamond ring we found and of an emerald necklace, both circa 1700. And you'll look at the craftsmanship going back there. To that time, I think that you'll totally be aghast to the pictures when I send them to you.
You pulled this out of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just the workmanship, there was just, it was, you're looking at and you're saying, wow, they did this by hand back then.
Oh, yeah.
They had tools, and it was just phenomenal. And the pearl necklace, it's not the normal pearls that we're all used to seeing, round and all that stuff. They were all oblong and multi-shaped and so forth, but gorgeous.
And they weren't culturing them back then.
Yep.
Yeah. And no, you're right. And it's funny, the best jewelers back then, they were either part of the church or royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the royalty would get them from the church because the church guys, they had the money and they did the best work.
Mark, I'm going to say goodnight right now because, I have to get back to Shop NBC a little bit later, and I got a lot of stuff I still want to cover yet. But as always, Mark, really appreciate your participation in the show. Thank you for chiming in, and that was some great points and some interesting things you brought up there. And I'm looking forward to seeing those pictures.
It'll be my pleasure, and again, wonderful job, and go knock them dead at the shop.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
He's a very interesting guy. We've been talking on the phone for probably 3 or 4 years now.
I think I heard, I watched a little bit with you and
Yeah.
Dave, and I think he wants to get you out on the ship, and you said you're not going to dive, but you'll go in the boat.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get me dipping down there, but I'll take a boat ride, Anyway, all right, we're about ready to go to the Classic Film Zone. We're going to feature Rebel Without a Cause, but before we do, before we took Mark's call, I wanted to cover this. I have my reasons. But, a lot of times people think when you're in the jewelry business or you're into gemstones, not jewelry so much, but really the rocks, they think you're a pirate. Okay? You're some kind of a pirate. It's kind of like a pirate's business. And you had a picture of you and Judy as pirates. And it was my favorite picture of Judy. But anyway, she looks great there. But, I thought, you know what? That is a good picture of Paul because that's what he is.
I'm a pirate.
Paul is a pirate, and that's why you're in the gemstone business. And I think Judy should permanently make her hair that color.
Oh, it was funny. We were on a cruise ship and we had, not then, but we did that for a contest and we won.
Okay.
And
you won with that.
And
okay,
yeah,
okay.
And I had a little bit more of the Johnny Depp thing happening at that point, but
yeah, I couldn't tell if you were a Rastafarian or a pirate.
No,
but anyway,
that was at the end of a very long celebration called Gasparilla in Tampa.
Okay.
And which is a pirate invasion.
Well,
most of my outfit was gone by then. But on the cruise ship, the band that was playing were so enamored with her hair.
It looked great.
In that they couldn't get enough of Judy.
Well, as I told you, we have a lot in common. The gemstone business, and I saw the pirate picture. I said, "Wait a minute, I did a pirate thing too."
Yeah.
So I figured we'd leave it to the people at home. Who makes a better pirate? Let's show them what it looks like.
Yours. Oh, there you go.
Okay, we got Paul as a pirate, and we got me as a pirate. Now that was in 1999, right there.
Yeah, it's a little unfair because I should have shown you the full garb.
Well, I mean,
I'll have to send you the other picture.
Yeah, and of course I had.
We'll have a pirate off when I can send you the other picture.
And I had my shipmate with me as well.
Yes.
So, but it wasn't seen in that picture. But here she is. This was an old girlfriend of mine. We were doing the pirate thing. I think Judy might win.
This must have been at the end because she has a sword at your throat.
Yeah, and I got one at her throat too. They're plastic, but you get the idea. That was probably 5 years after the OJ thing, but so we both.
Hey, at least it wasn't the Lorena Bobbitt thing.
Well, listen, I got stories about that one too, with my second ex-wife. But anyway, we won't go there tonight. But I think it's time that we're going to hit the classic film zone. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and hit the classic film zone. Okay, tonight in the Classic Film Zone, we're going to feature Rebel Without a Cause. And, of course, that was starring James Dean. This movie was from the year I was born, Paul, 1955. And, growing up, when I was young, used to hear so much about James Dean. And then, later on when I got into classic films and old films and I started, buying them and researching them and all that kind of thing, I thought it was interesting. He only made 3 movies.
Yeah.
Such a fuss over this actor. And the interesting thing about Rebel Without a Cause, that might be his most famous of the 3, East of Eden and Giant, but is that he actually killed himself. I mean, he got killed in a car crash about a month before this movie was released. So he was killed literally before this movie was released and before Giant was released. He was working on both of them. And he was going crazy fast and he crashed and he died. And of course the legend lives on. But this movie is an interesting movie because it's really about, teenagers and rebellious teenagers. And, the whole movie is done from a perspective of through the teenager's eyes, through the child's eyes, and how the families were and the parents were in those days. And, it's a pretty powerful film. And, I watched a lot of the, special features on this. And, I'm sorry that Savvy Avi, her computer crashed a little bit earlier tonight. She's not able to handle this. So I'm stepping in here. But it's interesting as far as the making of this, how they really had to cater to the censors in those days. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the stuff that was written into the script got taken out because it was considered to be too violent. It's a kind of a violent film, although it's pretty much watered down now. But we're not going to spend too much time. We'll show a couple of clips, and of course, this does star Natalie Wood as well. It's her first film as other than a child actor, although she's playing a teenager, but she always had child roles, and so that's kind of interesting too. But one of the famous lines from this movie and one of the famous scenes is right in the beginning of the film, and it really sets up the whole film. And this is when James Dean, he's playing Jim in this movie. Jim is, picked up by the police for public drunkenness at 1 or 2 in the morning. And so they bring him into the police station to the juvenile division. And he's in there. And of course, Natalie Wood is in there, and also Plato, played by Sal Mineo too. But that's where they kind of see each other. But this is that scene where he's brought into the police station, and then they call his parents. His dad is played by Jim Backus, and he was trying to be more of a serious actor at that time. But they come to pick him up, and you can see the dysfunction and his famous line of, "You're tearing me apart," you know. So I thought that would be a good scene to show from this movie. So let's go ahead and roll that one, Ronnie. That's number 1? Yeah.
Well, I don't see what's so bad about taking a little drink.
You don't?
No, I definitely
He's
don't.
a minor, Mr. Stark, and it looks to me like he had more than a little drink.
Don't hum, dear.
I cut loose pretty good in my day, too.
Oh, really, Frank? When was that?
Can't you wait till we get home?
How about you, Jim? Got anything to say for yourself? Not interested, huh?
Can't you answer? What's the matter with you anyhow?
He's just loaded, honey.
I was talking to Jim.
Well, I'd like to just explain. You see, we just moved here, you understand, and the kid hasn't got any friends, you understand,
Tell
and
him
we
why
moved
we moved
into
here.
it. Will you hold it, Jim?
Tell him, man, why we moved here.
Will you hold it?
You can't protect me.
Do you mind if I try? Do you have to slam the door in my face? I try to get to him. What happens? Don't I buy you everything you want? A bicycle? You get a bicycle. A car?
You buy me many things.
No. Well, not just buy. We give you love and affection, don't we? Well, then what is it? Was it because we went to that party? Well, you know what kind of drunken brawls those kind of parties turn into. It's not a place for kids.
A minute ago, you said you didn't care if he drinks.
He said a little drink.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
That's a fine way to behave.
Well, you know who he takes after.
Oh!
Inside, Jim. Come on. Inside. Would you excuse us a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Somebody ought to put poison in her Epsom salts.
Grandma?
Oh, get lost.
Hang loose, boy. I'm warning you.
Why don't you wash up and go home? Oh, this is cute.
Big, tough character. You don't kid me, pal. How come you're not wearing your boots?
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
You know, it's too bad you didn't connect. You could have gone to juvenile hall. That's what you want, isn't it?
Well.
Sure it is. You want to bug us till we have to lock you up. Why?
Leave me alone.
No.
I don't know why.
Go on, don't give me that.
Please lock me up. I'm going to hit somebody. I'm going to do something I don't...
Try the desk. Go ahead. Is that why you moved from the last town? Because you're in trouble?
They think that they can protect me by moving around all the time.
You had a good start in the wrong direction back there. Why'd you do it?
What do you mean? Mess a kid up?
Yeah.
Called me chicken.
And your folks didn't understand?
They never do. They think that I can make friends if we move. See, just move. Everything will be roses and sunshine.
But you don't think that's the right solution?
Oh, she eats him alive and he takes it.
Things pretty rough for you at home?
At the zoo.
What?
At the zoo. I mean, he always wants to be my pal, you know? But how can I give him anything if he's... Well, I mean, I love him and all that type of stuff, and I mean, I don't want to hurt him. But then I don't know what to do anymore except maybe die. I mean, if he had guts to knock Mom cold once, then maybe she'd be happy and then she'd stop picking on him. Because they make mush out of him. You know, just mush. No, I'll tell you one thing. I don't ever want to be like him.
Chicken?
I bet you see right through me, don't you? I mean, how can a guy grow up in a circus like that?
Beats me, Jim. But they do. Want some water?
Boy, if I had one day when I didn't have to be all confused and I didn't have to feel that I was ashamed of everything. If I felt that I belonged someplace, you know, then...
Well, you know, pretty powerful stuff from James Dean. You know, what I want to do is, you know, like I said, Avi was going to be presenting this. Her computer crashed, couldn't make it happen. So rather than go through, you know, I've got 2 other clips that are long. I'm not going to do that tonight. Just go. You want to go out there and you want to get this movie. I will show a really short clip. This is it right here. Rebel Without a Cause. The scene, of course, when he comes home to tell his parents that you know, him and another guy stole cars and they had what they call a chickie run, and he went off the cliff and died and all that, and he wanted to go to the police. That's a pretty powerful scene. We're not going to show that, but here's some pictures, you know, from Rebel Without a Cause. That's Natalie Wood right there. And, you know, we do have a short clip, I think about 2 minutes, or not even that, maybe less than that, of Natalie Wood's first on-screen kiss with James Dean, and it's pretty cool. You know, in some ways, this movie was almost cursed. There she is, because you look at the 3 major stars in this movie. You know, Natalie Wood died at 43. She drowned. Right. James Dean, of course, crashed at 24 years old. And Sal Mineo, he's from the Bronx. He played a great part in this. He was the one that was the most, like, psychologically messed up kid. And he did a fabulous job. He was killed in a parking lot by somebody at age 37.
Was he that young?
When he got killed, yeah. You know, and in this movie, he was a minor. But anyway, so it's like this movie is somehow cursed or something with all these people in it. But anyway, you know, Natalie Wood's first on-screen kiss. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's a thin script or what. I don't know what you'd want to say about it. But it strikes me as a little bit odd that Natalie Wood was the girlfriend of Buzz, or kind of girlfriend. And Buzz was the leader of the gang, and the gang didn't like James Dean, which was Jimmy, and he kind of wanted to be part of the gang, so they called him a chicken. So he showed up, and he kind of started making friends with Buzz before they had to do their what they call chickie run, where they had these stolen cars, and they had to race as fast as they can toward the cliff, and then the first one who jumps out of the car is a chicken. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, Jim goes racing down. They both go racing by, and before they did that, they said, "Do we have to? You know, why do we have to do this? Because we have to, you know." And both cars go off the cliff, but James Dean, he jumps out the car at the last second, but Buzz kind of gets his arm caught on the thing. Get out, yeah. He can't get out, and he gets killed. Well, that was Natalie Wood's kind of boyfriend. In this movie, what was her? I can't even remember her role now in the movie. Judy. She was Judy, another Judy. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then later that night, she says, "I love you." And she's in love with. I mean, it's kind of quick, don't you think? Yeah. It's in the same night.
Body wasn't even cold.
So I mean, I thought that was a little bit odd, but Jim was more sensitive. So we're going to skip the dramatic scene, which is incredible, with Jim Dean and his parents, where they're screaming and he attacks his father and all that stuff. That's cool. And we'll even skip we had another one where it was James Dean and Natalie Wood bonding a little bit earlier in the night, and then later her first on-screen kiss, and it's a short clip. And so let's take a look at that.
Hi.
Hi. Is this what it's like to love somebody?
I don't know.
What kind of a person do you think a girl wants?
A man?
Yes. But a man who can be gentle and sweet.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Oh.
And someone who doesn't run away when you want them. Like being Plato's friend when nobody else liked him. That's being strong.
Oh, wow. Well, we're not gonna be lonely anymore. Ever, ever. Not you or me.
I love somebody. All the time I've been looking for someone to love me, and now I love somebody. And it's so easy. Why is it easy now?
I don't know. It is for me too.
I love you, Jim. I really mean it.
Well, I remember.
Well, there you have it, James Dean and Natalie Wood. We're going to put a wrap on the Classic Film Zone tonight, but great flick. It looks like we have somebody from Pittsburgh on the line that wants to chat about Gemstones. But Joe, just hang on. We will get to you. Before we do, though, I want to just, if I could, just get to a little quick story. That Rebel Without a Cause, of course, was all about teenagers and kids. And you just had a son going to college, right?
He's going to graduate this. My daughter just started. Yeah.
Oh, your daughter. That's what it was.
Yeah, my son's going to graduate with his master's in May.
Okay, so that would make him about, what, 22, 23?
21.
21, and he's already, was he like a year ahead or something?
Yeah, he started with as midway through his sophomore year.
So he was a little bit ahead of his...
A little bit, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, you told me an interesting story about your son when he was only 10. So that would be about 11 years ago.
Yep, that's right.
And how ahead of his time he was. Let me hear that story.
Well, I had, as we talked about earlier tonight, I was traveling all over the world at the time with QVC going to mines. And when I went to Australia, I thought it would be a great opportunity for him.
And he was 10.
He was 10 years old, and I thought it would be great for him to go and see another country, see the culture.
And it was in summertime, so he wouldn't miss any school.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. It was in May, and it was probably, he would have missed maybe 10 of his last 14 days of school. So in other words, he'd be back for the last 3 or 4 days. And so I talked to the principal about it. They were very cool with it. They understood it was a great opportunity. So I said to him, but this is not just a free ride. You just can't come and freeload in Australia. You have to do something. You either have to write a report that you share with your students when you get back, or you have to. We had at that time. You talk about classic films. We had gone to this movie theater where I was living in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and they would always advertise a backyard children's film festival. So I said to there he is. I said to Kyle,
"There's your boy."
I said, "Do you want to make, or you can make a movie?" He says, "Yeah, I'd like to make a movie." So he did, and turns out he made a mockumentary. It all comes full circle now, doesn't it?
Did they even have mockumentaries? Was there that term even around?
Yeah, because
11 years ago.
When he said he wanted to do it and he wasn't sure what he was going to do, we had a discussion. I told Larry this. I said, well, you can do anything you want, which is the worst thing you can tell a 10-year-old. And he said, but Dad, I want to win. And I said,
win what? Now,
he wanted to win the film festival. He wanted to win an award. And I said, well, you can't think of it like that. I said, how do you put this without breaking a 10-year-old's heart? I said, movies are very subjective. I said, these award shows. I said, let me get an example. I said, what's your favorite movie of all time? And back then he said, Rush Hour. And that was one with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. It was funny. A buddy cop movie.
Okay. A buddy cop movie.
So I said, that's a great example. I said, that was a funny film. It did big money at the box office. Everybody loved it. And I said, now, it's not going to win any awards. But that's the kind of movie you like. I said, now, another movie that was recently had won an award was Chocolat. And I said, you're going to see that. You're going to hate it.
Yeah.
I said, and it's not going to make any money, and the critics are going to love it.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened. So I said, just make the movie you want. So he made a movie basically following me around being filmed by the QVC crew. And he did it in a mockumentary style. And I let him see Spinal Tap as a template for how to do the movie.
But you didn't tell him what to do.
No, he did it all on his own.
Okay, and he was 10.
He was 10.
Well, what happened?
I did assign him somebody at QVC as a mentor to help him edit.
Once he came back from Australia
to edit it. But he shot it all himself.
Okay. And what was the upshot of it?
The upshot was we got invited to L.A. to premiere the film.
You got to be kidding.
No, so we...
But I mean, there was a contest before that made you qualify to go to L.A.?
Yeah, you had to send in... You had to be 10 minutes or less to film. And they had different age groups. They had 10 and under, and I think 12 to 14 or something, and then 16 to 18, something like that. And so we went out, and he won the Creative Excellence Award.
He won the award. All right, and in other words, I remember you telling me that the guy who called him up to win was trying to.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. You're so right. This is very funny. So it was a true gala. So I got the tuxedo for him, and I was wearing my tux, and his little sister had her her dress on, and we're watching the movie and doing the films, and they have this very esoteric director of documentary films who was emceeing. And he was asking all these kids are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and asking these ridiculous questions. Like he'd say, I noticed in your film that when you were filming the kangaroo that the screen was very jumpy. Were you trying to get that being a kangaroo, that you wanted the audience to see through the kangaroo's eyes? And I'm thinking, what the heck is this guy talking about? And Kyle, doesn't miss a beat, and he says, well, no. He said it's actually very, very difficult to even see a kangaroo in the wild in the outback of Australia.
You have to understand.
Yeah, you have to understand. You're in the back of a big truck, and it's jumping. And when you see it, I'm grabbing a camera and I'm hanging onto the seat because the roads are really bumpy, and that's why it was shaking. So I'm hysterical.
You kind of get what you get.
You get what you get when you're out in the field. I'm hysterical. Okay. But the even funnier thing was so we're at the after party.
Okay.
For these 10-year-old kids, and they did serve alcohol for the adults, which was nice.
Okay.
And these two guys come up to me and they shake my hand and they want to give me their card and say, "Hi, we're so and so from HBO Family. We want to know, is Kyle working on anything else?" And I'm like,
he's 10. It's past his bedtime. What do you mean? Is he working on anything
He had
else?
a good time. He might make something else. Well, call us if he does, because, we don't just send it to these things. We're looking for content.
Well, that's pretty funny stuff. But anyway, he's obviously was a very advanced 10-year-old, and now he's going to graduate with his master's
in finance
at 21 years old. That's pretty amazing. But I asked you if you could get me a copy of that film.
Yes.
Okay. And you did. It looks like it was, in the bottom of a sock drawer somewhere because the video is pretty, the sound, the video. I mean, it
was a horrible camera. I
no, but I
gave
mean,
him a horrible
also,
camera.
I have a suspicion that perhaps maybe at one time it might have been on tape and then transferred to DVD.
Absolutely. That's correct.
Because the video quality is pretty bad. But nevertheless, what I did is I kind of chopped it up. And like you said, it was 10 minutes in length. We don't want to sit here and watch a 10-minute movie.
No.
But it was pretty funny. And I like the way he made a lot of fun of you.
Yes.
He's making fun of his dad here, as you call it, a mockumentary.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut it into about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So are you game for
I'm
this?
game.
All right, let's take a look at...
By the way, this is what caused me to lose the most weight ever.
Seeing you on this...
Seeing me on this thing. On,
Okay.
on a big screen in Los Angeles.
Okay. This is Paul's son, Kyle, 11 years ago, 10 years old, doing on his trip with his dad... a little film or his film project. He won an award for it, and I've edited it down to like 5 minutes to try to make it doable here. So here you go. Let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Kyle Deasy, and recently I had the chance to travel almost halfway across the world to Australia along with my dad, Paul Deasy, and his crew. When I heard about this, I took the chance to make my first movie. Not only did I have the chance to find out what it was like in a whole different country, but I got to take a behind-the-scenes look at what really happens when my dad films in a different country. Your business tend to be prima donna or too good for others. What would you have to say about that?
I think a lot of people who are in this profession of being on camera tend to be perceived as being prima donnas or maybe too good to spend time with the crew outside of work. Well, I don't think that's me at all. I don't think that that's true. I think if you talk to anybody that I work with, they're going to say, he's a regular guy. He's a guy we can have dinner with, or a guy that will hang out with us. Have a beer.
Hey, everybody. It's Paul.
I want you to come to my shop and talk to me. Sit down and have a coffee. You can go over and
How's it going? Cute.
Typical talent. They never want to sit with the crew.
You know, Paul, it must be great to go to so many different countries. You must have the best job in the world.
That's true. I mean, I do have a great job. But, it's very common. A lot of people think, wow, man, you've gone to all these exotic places and great lands, and that must be the greatest job in the world. Well, It's a lot of hard work, Kyle. I mean, we're working from first thing in the morning sometimes till last thing at night, and we're flying to all these different locations. There's not a lot of free time, so it's not like I'm lounging by the beach or sitting in a pool or a hot tub. And it's a lot of hard work. Murray. Yeah, it's me, Paul. Listen, the conditions that I have to work under here are completely unacceptable. I'm staying in this rat hole of a hotel. I mean, it's not the kind of thing I'm kind of used to. And secondly, they got me working like 2-3 hours a day. I mean, this isn't what we talked about. But Murray, listen to me. When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you, okay? You're my agent. Your job is to fix it, okay? Okay. Hey, next time you hear, is the phone hanging up?
What kind of relationship would you say you have with the crew?
Relationship? What do you mean by that?
What do you think? How do you think they feel about you?
Oh, I think the crew genuinely likes me. I think that we get together really well. I mean, you're like a close-knit family on these trips. And I would say they genuinely like me.
Down the hole.
Hey guys, a little bit. Back up. This good? Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah! We got rid of them! Let's go!
We're out. Okay. And then after the credits, there was more credits. I just cut it off there.
Oh, yeah.
Then you hear Paul's voice. They show the hole in the thing, and you come back saying, "Help!" Or
yeah,
when I get out of here, you're all fired.
You're all fired. Yeah, we got to show that that he doesn't. Nobody died in the filming.
Right. All right. We've got Joe from Pittsburgh on the line.
My hometown.
Joe, you're on the line here with Paul and Larry. What do you got for us? Are you there, Joe? Did we lose him?
Yeah.
All right. I guess he couldn't wait. That's okay. Joe, feel free to call back.
I think he was so enamored with the footage that
it could be.
He was reduced to tears.
It could be. Let's do a final call out quickly. Here's a final call for the free book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then we'll do a drawing. So, again, here's what you can win. You can win a Paul Deasy Color Gemstone book, great coffee table book, a $30 value, or the Opals book, a $20 value, also very, very nice. What you have to do is you want to send in your email to contact@acorn.tv, and in the body of the email, give us your first name, last name, city, and state. So name, city, and state. We don't need your phone number. We don't need your address. And in the subject line, you must put the secret word for tonight, and that is Rebel. Put Rebel in the subject line. You got 5 minutes to send it in. We're going to give away 2 books tonight, and they're a very nice gift. All right. That's the final call out, and time it for 5 minutes, Ginger, and then it's closed. Okay. Now, here's what I want to address now. We lost Joe on that last phone call, but somebody else will call in. Paul, again, I'm not going to have time to go back to the beginning. I wanted to, but I know that you take acting very seriously, okay? Before we get into this project that's being released and coming out, just how did the acting thing come? I mean, was it an outgrowth from Home Shopping or what?
First of all, I don't take anything seriously.
So you're just cocking around? I mean, is that what it is?
The truth of the matter is I got into this journey in a very different way than most people do. I know Dave was telling you how he got into...
Acting was his thing from the beginning.
Yeah, and for me... No, I went to college, I studied marketing, and I got a degree, and I got a job, and I had the job for like 3 or 4 years, and did very well, and completely hated it. I mean, I quite literally hated my job. And so my wife at the time got a transfer.
Okay.
And the company I was working with wanted to give me a big promotion and go where she was going, and I said, no, I think I'll just quit. You know, I was really
Right.
kind of done with it, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I was all of 24,
Okay.
25. Wasn't sure what I was going to do with my
I
life.
still am not sure. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's what I tell. That's what I tell my daughter when she came back from her first thing at college. Says, "I'm not sure what I want to be." I said, "Neither am I." You know,
That's right.
We're still working on it.
It's a work in progress.
So, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I worked in a health club for a little bit, and then I decided. Well, long story short, I got into acting and modeling in the Philadelphia market.
Okay.
And it was a very interesting journey because I had no background, no training, nothing. And I was auditioning. I was getting a lot of the parts, but it wasn't enough to sustain. You know, it'd be feast or famine. You'd have weeks where you're working, modeling or acting, making a lot of money, and then weeks where you didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, I was doing a lot of stuff and getting a lot of work, and that's where I really kind of backdoored into the acting business. And I've always really preferred comedy, but this opportunity with, for those of you that know Larry, obviously from Shop NBC, and there was a host there by the name of Libby Floyd.
Yeah,
who was
absolutely.
always one of my best hosts to work with. And her husband, by the name of Tony Kane Honeysett, is brilliant. And I saw a couple of things that he had done. And I'd done little things over the years. And I'd been in some movies,
Right.
Some of my best work on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
But he said he was going to do a movie, and I watched 2 documentaries that he had done, and they were brilliant. I mean, really.
Really?
This
Okay.
guy's incredibly talented. He's a great photographer.
Okay.
Like still shots, and he's a musician. I mean, this guy is like this incredibly multi-talented. He's born in England.
Okay.
And, so he says to me, "Well, we're going to do. I want to do a movie." And I said, "Well, I hope it's a comedy." And he said, "Well, no." He said, "But I want you to just play this minor role in it." And I said, "Okay, well, that's fine. When I come up, I can do
Okay.
that."
All right.
And so
Shoot it here in Minnesota.
Yeah, so shooting in Minnesota. And so as time goes on, and I come up expecting to do read the script, expecting to do the small part.
Right.
He says, "Well, actually, I need you to play the lead character." And I said, "Okay. I mean, if you're okay with that, that's fine with me. But you have to still work around my schedule, which is really difficult."
Because you're here, you're back.
I'm here
you're
and back, and it's a
And
small.
then when you're here, you got to work at shop.
And you got to worry about continuity, because if we're shooting in the fall and there's leaves on the trees, and so there's a lot of challenges, and everything's shot out of sequence anyway. But the truth is, I really enjoyed it because it is a little out of character for me. And I think you'll really, really hate me, and that's
the object.
That's
the
the
objective.
idea.
All right. Well, listen, we'll get a little bit more into it, but let's check out the trailer.
And this
by
is the
way,
world premiere.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Paul is nice enough to give us the trailer, and I think it's still a little rough because the sound isn't.
The sound's not been edited, but we said we're going to world premiere this on Acorn TV.
With Larry, chilling with Larry Megan. So I appreciate that. So the sound is not finally edited, but I think you're going to get the idea. It's called Mistreated. I can't wait to see this. Check it out.
Clem's been working late every night. I don't even really see him anymore.
Well, there, you got a kinky husband.
Hey, honey, it's me. Sorry I missed you. Looks like I'm gonna work late tonight.
I know that I can't be married to a man that I don't trust.
Dude, I put his nuts in a blender.
I hired a private detective to follow him.
Jesus Christ!
Tell me the truth, Clem. What happened to your neck?
I told you I was with Billy.
Really?
Really?
Well, that doesn't explain the welts on your back and neck.
I bust my ass at the agency all goddamn day and I've got to come home to this? Confess. Well, maybe more than admission.
I thought we had a good, honest marriage. Where were you tonight, Clem?
What?
So Billy Vogel put this card in your jacket pocket?
Billy Vogel, shit! Ah!
Billy is such an asshole.
You're so full of it!
Well, I'll tell you what. This looks like something I would definitely go see.
Oh, it's awesome, and it's funny and not. You know what I mean? It's
scary.
Yeah,
along Fatal Attraction lines or something like that. Or
Well, it's something that. Do you really know the person that you're with?
I tell you, you look pretty at home in that role, Paul. I think Judy would probably say otherwise.
Well,
there's some nice pictures. Thank you, Ronnie, from the movie.
The funny thing about it is, because I am a comedic actor at heart, so I'm really waiting for the bloopers. That's what I really want.
Oh, there's some bloopers.
There's some
from
bloopers,
this?
yeah.
All right, that sounds pretty cool. So we know you're an actor. When is that coming out soon, or what's the deal? Where is it going to be? Is it going to be in little tiny theaters?
Well, I know that what he really wants to do, and I think I might have swayed him.
Film festival?
Well, first of all, I have to address this.
Okay.
Because I was lied to.
All right.
Because all these beautiful women that are in this movie.
Yeah.
And so when he was telling me to be in this movie, and he said that there would be a shower scene.
Well, we saw the shower scene by yourself.
He didn't tell me it would be me.
Now, what was the welch? Oh, you can't talk about it.
No,
you got to see the movie.
You'll see the movie, but is it going
to just go to film festival?
It'll go. He wants to, I think, debut it in the 2012 Orlando Film Festival.
Okay.
But he's going to make it very available because I think the running time is going to be about a half an hour. It's a short film.
Oh.
Yeah. So because in the circuit of these film festivals, his films have always done very well at the Orlando Film Festival. I think it's
when is that film festival?
I want to say, I don't know.
I mean, that's not that far of a drive from Tampa. I mean, you could go up there. No. You guys can party up there, and you guys can see how it does.
And you can come back to the house,
and the people can talk to you. And all right.
Yeah. So anyway, but he'll make it available, and I think not just in the Blu-ray form, but also to download.
All right.
So it'll be very available.
That's cool. I can't wait to see
it. It was fun. As an actor, and this from
you look natural as an actor.
Doing what you do. Well, it's funny. Judy knows this about me. My wife Judy, that we're film buffs too, so we see movies all the time.
Right.
And I'm always either rewriting the ending or saying, "Well, I didn't really believe this," and all I care about is it believable. Or I don't want somebody to look at you and say, "Well, you're acting."
It looked very believable, especially because I work in the office all the goddamn day, and then I got to come home to this. I mean, that was great.
Yeah, so
that looks very real.
So it's good, but the funny thing is, I'm the kind of actor that likes to, once we get that take, I want to do something different,
change it up.
Yeah, so Tony was like telling me afterwards, "You're a pain in the rear end to edit."
They were shooting in film. I mean, what was it? A 70 millimeter stuff?
Yeah, I don't even know. But the thing was, I want to do it a little different each time, and sometimes that takes other actors off guard.
Okay.
And because if I'm feeling a certain way, and I want to do, and it was funny, and when I know I nailed it, is the girl I was acting against, and then the other girl who was the assistant who took a lot of the still photos.
You scared them.
Oh, they were just like,
yeah,
we hate you.
But speaking about trying to do it another way, you really need to check out the special features on Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna do that.
The special features, because they talk about, James Dean, he wasn't comfortable doing the scene in the bedroom, and so they went over to the guy's house, and he said, "I like the stairs," and he said, "Okay, well, they built the thing to look like his house, so you could do it on the stairs." He was reinventing the script all the way through, James Dean.
Well, and the only thing I will tell you is that in real life, I'm a communicator, and if you're talking to me, I'm looking you in the eye and I'm talking to you.
Right.
And so obviously there's some tension between my movie wife and me. And Tony was really brilliant as a director because he wouldn't even let me look at her.
Okay.
In certain scenes. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right. But when I saw it, I'm like,
well,
I'll be damned he was.
I had kind of heard that you had gotten a little bit into acting. You had this thing going, but the one thing nobody told me was that you were a singer too. I didn't know about that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on
now.
So
anyway, I found a little clip. Not the greatest singing, but anyway, it's about 40 seconds worth.
Oh, this is at that bar.
You're holding a beer in your hand.
Oh, that's a shock.
Yeah. So
actually, I do Sinatra. That's just this is the Van Morrison thing, isn't it?
Well, check it out.
Yeah. The green iguana.
Yeah, where's that in Key West?
Ybor City.
Oh, Ybor City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm more, believe it or not, a Sinatra, Michael Bublé.
And you can sing that stuff?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to
We'll
get
do
some
that
video
another
on
time.
another time. We'll get you back on here.
I tend to change the words like I changed.
I mean,
the
we didn't
script.
even touch half the stuff on my notes here. But you got here late, Paul. It was your fault. But anyway,
that's how
we
I
do
roll.
have Joe from Pittsburgh back on the
All
line.
right.
Joe, are you there? We're going to have to make it kind of short. Are you there, Joe?
I'm there. Sorry, it's going to be short. Yeah, sorry, I didn't hang up, but somehow we got disconnected.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I didn't get through. But anyway, I'm going to just have a few comments. First of all, great show.
Thank you.
The other thing is it's interesting that your last few guests, Dave and Paul, and yourself, I'm in a suburb of Pittsburgh called West Mifflin.
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, Paul, and it's interesting. I didn't know you grew up in Pittsburgh, and then Dave, of course, I've watched his sister Patrice King Brown as an anchor on KDKA, CBS. But I do have, besides liking watches and having a lot of Sterling watches, I have a few questions for you, Paul, and Larry, you can answer them as well.
All right.
And you can, since I have a little short amount of time, I'll do these real fast. Rarest gemstone for. I worked in jewelry for a couple years. But
I have my answer, but go ahead.
I'll tell you, the rarest that's being mined currently would be the Zoltanite. There's one mine in the world. One.
Wow.
There's a lot of stones with one mine, though.
No, there's a lot of mines with one location, with multiple mines.
Okay.
There aren't very many that are currently being mined. Now, the rarest stone, oh boy, if you're talking about overall, I'd probably still say the Cashmere Sapphire.
Well, if you're going to say Cashmere Sapphire, I'd go one step further and say Burmese Sapphire. I mean, Cashmere Sapphire hasn't been mined since the early 60s. Burmese Sapphire hasn't been mined since the early 20s. So have you ever seen a Burmese Sapphire?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the kind.
Yeah.
But I would say the rarest gemstone, if we can count diamonds, I'm going to say a red diamond.
Well, red diamond is true, but diamonds are the most productively mined stone.
Well, white diamonds.
Yeah, they're
and brown diamonds.
They're completely unrare.
But red diamond.
Oh yeah.
I said red.
Biggest money at auction was a red diamond.
Red diamond.
Yeah.
So how does that did that work for you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I just have a few others that you can.
Sure.
I don't. The second question is the most expensive gemstone.
I'll say red diamond.
Oh, the red
again.
diamond at auction was certainly in a very short list. You would have like a Lightning Ridge black opal.
Can't get them anymore, right?
Well, no, you can still get them, but the production of the opals out of Australia is down about 95% in the last 10 years.
Okay.
So they've been. Also, Paraiba tourmalines. You remember back in the day,
yeah.
$10,000 to $15,000 a carat.
Yeah, my friend in L.A. is probably the biggest. I mean, if it's out there,
yeah, he gets it.
He gets it. He has to have. He has to. He's a kind of a hog.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's the man in L.A. and he's a Brazilian fellow, about 6'4", 6'5", and he's got some Paraibas that'll just. I mean, I'm talking like 20 caraters.
Yeah.
I mean, big ones.
And in certain stones,
but you're
Joe,
right.
Your price per carat goes up exponentially in certain stones. Like it's for a Brazilian amethyst, for example, it's easy to get a 20 carat or 30 carat stone, and your price per carat doesn't change much. But you go to even stones as simple as a peridot, and you go from a 1 carat to say a 5 or 10 carat, your price per carat goes through the roof.
Well, especially if you're talking about a Burmese with the rain and the the horsetail. Burmese peridot. Also, what do you think? Now, this may not be an expensive stone, but I had a friend in the business, and he collected demantoid garnets.
Oh yeah, well those are pretty expensive too.
But they're all little tiny stones. It's hard to get a big.
Certain gemstones, because of the content in them, their growth is naturally inhibited.
Yeah.
Savorite garnet, chrome diopside. The chrome inhibits the growth of the stone, and so they don't grow very large. And subsequently, Joe, when they become larger, you pay a big premium price for that.
Interesting, because they're rare, larger as well.
Absolutely. Or some of them, like a garnet, even a garnet, when you go to the bigger garnets, the color goes really, really dark, and it's not as attractive. So if you find a 5 or 10 carat garnet that has great color, you pay a big price for that too.
Since we're on the topic, favorite garnet?
My favorite garnet, well, if we're not counting the color change variety.
You can count color change. I didn't even know about a color change garnet.
Yeah, there's a color change garnet, which is pretty impressive. But I would say And this is going to sound
favorite, not most expensive.
Okay,
just favorite.
Rhodolite.
Well, I was going to say hot pink rubellite.
Yeah.
Rubellite is kind of raspberry.
Well, rubellite is tourmaline.
Oh, that's tourmaline.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
A hot pink rubellite tourmaline.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So then for garnet, I'm going to go on the spessartine side with the orange.
Spessartine garnet. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah.
I'm rusty. I've been out of the bit. Joe, you must have had something in mind when you asked those questions about the most rare, the most expensive. What's your answer, Joe?
Well, honestly, I was only in the jewelry business for a few years and not nearly 1/1000 successful as you guys. You both, Larry and Paul, have been. But I always find gems interesting, even though my attraction to watches now and, from sterling and so on have overcome that. I have two others, though, and from both your perspectives, your actual favorite gemstone, regardless of price.
Easy for me.
Easy for me.
Black opal.
Yellow diamond. Now, I know it's a diamond, and I love the colors. I absolutely love the colors.
Fancy colored diamonds are...
But you get a yellow diamond. I actually had I didn't get the sale, and it's a long story we can't go into tonight. Feel free to call back another time, or I'll save it for the next time you're on.
Okay.
But we tracked down, if you can imagine this, and I still have the certificate somewhere here. I know I could dig it up, I'm sure. But imagine this, a 19.75 carat, internally flawless, vivid. Now, you have to know yellow diamonds to understand what I'm talking about here, because round, brilliant cuts, and it's a round, brilliant cut. Round cuts, you have to have the true body color because the round cut washes it out. Big yellow diamonds, bigger than, say, 2-3 carats, you don't find rounds, okay? They're all cushions. They're all, or radiant cuts. They're radiant cuts because it magnifies the color, okay? To get a round cut in vivid, and if you know the scale, 9 is vivid, okay, on that scale. But internally flawless, we tracked it down in Paris, brought it into New York, and then from New York, we had it armor card to Indianapolis to show to the client, and we didn't get the sale. And we were only asking, and this sounds like ridiculous, but this is dirt cheap. I partnered with a guy on it, $800,000. We would have each made $100,000. Our cost on the stone was $600,000. We didn't get the sale because the husband and wife were fighting, and they are divorced today. Okay? And she had the money to buy it herself, but she said, I want him to buy this one for me. And if I said these names, you may not exactly know who they are, but they're major industrialists, okay? And this particular husband had previously owned 35 jewelry stores, okay? And he sold them to a guy who now has the Diamond Exchange in Indianapolis. And he said, if my guy verifies it, maybe I'll buy it. I said, no problem. I took it to his guy, and as you may know, and I'm sure you know, the yellow diamonds market is basically, the pricing is kind of based upon the auctions, the big auctions on yellow diamonds and everything. And his guy told him, he said, if this stone was being sold in Tiffany's, it would be a minimum of $2 million.
Wow.
Okay? We were one step away from the owner. My partner on it was former business partners with the owner of the stone who had it in Paris. Okay, and I told him, you get it here, we've got a sale. Well, in the end, I ended up with egg all over my face because we didn't get the sale. He didn't kill me too bad. I think he ended up selling it to someone else, but we never spoke again. I flew in from L.A., he flew in from New York. We met there. I saw it was about the size of a quarter.
It sounds like the bad luck stone, like the Hope Diamond, because you never spoke to him again. They got divorced.
Could be. She was very spiritual. I can tell you off camera about this, but anyway, it's a long story. I called it the Canary Endeavor. It took about 6 months to track this stone down. I said, please be open-minded. I was getting, bids and things and certs from all over the country for 16, 18, 20 caraters, 22 caraters, but they were all radiant cuts. She said, I already have, an 18 carat radiant cut on my finger. She wanted a round. I said, they don't come in round in yellows. We found
it, yeah.
In vivid, it was like a one of a kind in the world, and but to this day, I still love yellow diamonds because of everything I went through on that. I had to learn about. I didn't know about diamonds, about yellow colors. I knew about gems. So to this day, I love yellow diamonds.
And most people don't realize that diamonds and colored gems are completely different businesses.
They really are.
Yeah, and that was leading to my last question. But Larry, on that same front, do you know who has that diamond now?
No,
Okay.
we're talking about 14 years ago or 13 years
Okay,
ago,
yeah, I know what you
1998.
mean.
That was in 98.
Sounds like Joe has about 1.6 million rattling around in his pocket. He doesn't know what to do with.
No, I'm one of them poor Pittsburgh guys. You know?
I understand. I'm born and bred.
You got one last quickie for us?
Yeah, last quickie. More recently, I've been seeing a lot of colored diamonds from the standpoint of a small size, and is there a reason those have become more popular? In the past, I mean, like you talked about rare yellow or extremely rare red,
Right.
and
You
just
want this
regular
one, Paul?
diamonds.
Well, you can go. I mean, I have an answer, but you can go.
Well, all right. My answer is this, and this is something they don't really tell you on Home Shopping TV, and we don't have a big audience here, so I'm just going to say it. First of all, I love those pieces. I love the blue diamonds, and I love all the colored diamonds and everything. And I've dealt with some of these dealers. I think there's a guy up here in Minnesota that deals in that stuff. But those are irradiated.
Yeah, they're irradiated.
They're irradiated,
treated.
and they're treated to get that color, and that's what they don't really tell you in the home shopping thing. And I don't care. I mean, I'm not trying to put anybody down or
Right,
anything
right.
like that. It's still a great value. It's still a diamond. It's still colored, but
Yeah,
it's not like the Hope diamond or what we're talking about here. They're
majority-
irradiated diamonds.
The majority of what you're talking about these days, if you're still getting the Australian material like the Argyles, those are pretty much the color. But
those are a lot more expensive.
Yeah, yes, they are. The yellows, the blues, as you said, a lot of work being done on
Pink,
them. Right.
greens, they're
Right.
irradiated. And there's, again, nothing wrong with that. I think it's still a great value. I think it's still great.
And it's still an infinitesimally. Don't forget, the potential for color always has to exist in the stone. So you can't totally create something where there's no potential for color to
But
be
there's
there.
a difference between heated and,
no
and
doubt.
irradiated.
No doubt.
Okay, because everything is heated.
Yeah.
Okay, everything. But maybe, one out of a million is not heated. But, not everything is irradiated.
Yeah, so I mean, are they appraised the same way using the
They're appraised for what they
diamonds?
are.
Yeah. And, and appraisals are a funny thing, too. I always say to my customers, I always give them the poor man's appraisal. And you said you're a poor man from Pittsburgh. So,
And I'm a poor man from Minnesota.
So, Joe, this is perfect for you. I always say, okay, if you absolutely need to get an appraisal to get a for insurance purposes, do it. But you're going to pay for that. What I always like to say is go into the jeweler, bring your ring or your bracelet or whatever it is, and you say, and that's what I say to the girls that are watching me. I say, go in and say, I got this ring as a gift.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. My sister wants the same thing. What would it cost for you to make the same thing? And you're going to get an honest assessment of what it costs without paying for
Right.
an
As soon as
appraisal.
you tell them I bought it on Home Shopping TV,
Yeah,
they're going to
they're
trash it.
right,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Well, listen,
Right.
Joe, I hate to cut you short,
That's
but
all right.
we have to wrap it up. I got to get to the studio.
You got to go to work, man.
Right,
But we
you got to
still-
go to shop at BC and sell some watches.
Well, hey, listen, it's the way the schedule popped up on me, and I hate that when it happens like this. But, we'll
great
get Paul
show.
back here when we can really get into a lot of the
Dig
stuff.
in.
I didn't get into some of the stuff I wanted to. But thanks again, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Have a good
Peace.
night.
You too.
Paul, I'm sorry we're going to have to kill it now, but we do end every show. I know you really probably haven't seen my show, but my favorite of all time is Judy Garland because, like I said, you have your Judy, I have my Judy. But my mother was a big Judy Garland fan. My father was a big Nat King Cole fan, and I, still to this day love Nat King Cole and Judy Garland. And so I figure since it's my show, I always have to get a little Judy into every show. And I end every show with a segment called Always Chasing Rainbows, and it's that time of the night. Let's go to it.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up.
All right. Now, before I just remembered, thank you, Ronnie. He reminded me we have to give away the books. Is it possible to get somebody out there to call in right now? We get a caller to... Yeah. Yeah, let's bring up camera 3. If somebody out there, Joe, if you want to call us back, or Mark, or anybody who's out there watching, give us a quick call on the phone, please. Okay, well, I actually want to end it on the video. Let's give away the books. Do we have a call coming in? Somebody call in. All right, someone's calling in right now. Let's grab it. Let's put them through as quick as we can, guys. I've never...
And by the way, since
Go ahead.
I have to send the book to Larry.
You can either bring it or I'll give you the money.
No, I'll bring it. But I was going to say, since I have to do that anyway, and it's your choice, they're shrink wrapped.
Keep it shrink wrapped. Yeah.
Or I can sign it and then it goes down in value the minute I sign it.
No, I think it would be nice if you sign it.
So then
we're not going to be able to talk to the winner.
But then
tonight.
it won't be shrink wrapped, but it'll just have my signature.
That's okay. We'll wrap it up. We won't
Okay.
shrink wrap it. But
Okay,
yeah, I think
right.
that's really cool. I think
All right.
that's a great idea because you're the author of the book.
Yeah.
It's
So
not that
the
you're a
value is about $50 combined. It'll go down to $30 the minute I sign it.
All right, that's funny. All right, who do we have on the line here? Pamela, yes, you did. Did you get your movie tickets? Or no,
I did.
It was California Pizza Kitchen, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and thank you very much.
All right, well, congratulations. Tonight we have 42 entries in the email box. Let's, if we can get it on screen. But go ahead, Pamela. First, we're going to take a number from you between 1 and 42, and this will be for the Opal book first, okay?
Oh, you're not getting them as a package deal?
No.
Oh, okay.
Two winners.
Okay,
Two
cool.
winners.
All right, great.
All right, Pamela, a number between 1 and 42.
1 and 42. How about 18?
18. Can you make the view a little smaller here? Because it's on the click down. It's going to be too tight. Go a little less. Go ahead. And okay. No, smaller.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right, Ginger. I'm going to call it out, and you just click down as we go. Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, let's double click it and let's give us a bigger view here. Let's see who won. Let's go ahead and open it up. Give me a big view here and scroll over. Can you read that? I can't understand what you're saying.
Kaylee Goldberg.
Kaylee Goldberg. Okay.
So she wins the Opal out of New York.
Okay.
Wins the Opal book.
Kaylee Goldberg has the Opals book, and now another number between 1 and 42 from Pamela.
Let's see.
Except
31.
What was it?
31.
31. So start with, go to the smaller view. Start at Kaylee Goldberg there. She's number 18. Start there. Let's get the...
It's a lot of pressure for Pamela, don't you think?
No, she's probably going to pick... She won last week.
So she'll pick herself?
No. You know, we haven't had that happen yet.
Okay.
Ginger, if you could go down to Kaylee Goldberg.
Starting from there, we're going to run over.
Are you... Okay, are you at the Kaylee Goldberg name now? Okay, 19. Go down, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Let's open it up. Give us a big view on that, Ginger, if you can. Go big. My eyes just don't, that's it. I can't read it. It's not big enough for me.
Frankhauser from Akron, Ohio.
John Frankhauser. Didn't he win something like about 6 weeks ago? He might have won a watch, I think. All right, John Frankhauser, you win the Colored Stone book.
Yeah, Colored
Gemstones.
So
John Frankhauser and Kaylee Goldberg, do us a favor. Send us your shipping address and phone number just to have it here so we know we've got the right person. And those will go. Now, those are not going to go out as quickly. Those are going to take a couple of weeks.
I got to bring it back up.
Paul will bring it back to me on his next trip up here, which is in a couple of weeks, and then I'll ship them out. So,
and then have them tell you what name if they're giving it as a gift.
Yeah, in the email, put in the email, Paul's going to address it to you. He's going to sign the inside of it. So if you wanted to say to Kaylee or to John, put that in your email, and I'll pass that on.
Sure, that'd be great.
I'll pass that on to Paul. All right.
Or if you say, I don't want it signed.
Or if you say you don't want it signed. But I think that's a nice touch because he is the author of these books. Pamela, thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for being supportive of the show as well.
No, no problem. And I just want to say how wonderful the show has been. I really enjoyed you, Larry, and Paul. I just learned a lot, and it's just been great. I really have enjoyed the show. So
thank you very much.
That's cool. Thank you
so much. I know it's
much.
late, so I won't go any further into it.
Okay. Call back next week when I have more time, okay?
I will.
All right. I'm rushing because I got to leave here in literally like 5-10 minutes. I got to get to the studio. But we end every show with Judy Garland. And what I found tonight was, one of my favorite love songs of Judy Garland. This was from her TV show in 1962, so she would be 40 years old. And, Paul, for me, I always find, Judy's performances to be inspirational. It's not about her best film or her best. It's always, because all of her films are kind of flawed, in my opinion, in certain ways. But there's always a great Judy moment or two or three in these films or TV specials or concerts or what have you. And this one is called Just in Time. And the way she sings it, the way she modulates all over the place is fantastic. And I've got her doing a few videos in different places on this song. But this one from her TV show, I thought she did just an incredible job. And I don't know, just with you and Judy, I just thought, love is in the air. So I thought I'd pick a Judy Garland love song to end the show with, Just in Time from her TV show. She was 40 years old, 1962. Here she is.
Just in time, I found you. Just in time, before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed. Nowhere to go. Now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubt or fear. I found my way. For love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. That lovely day. Just in time, I found you. Just in time, before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed, nowhere to go. Found my way, for love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. That lovely day, you changed my lonely life, rearranged my only life. You changed my lonely life. That lovely
Well, that's it. Paul, that's the first time I did 17 of these last year. I think we're on number 12 this year.
Yeah.
I've never done any editing to her clips where I put somebody else
That
in there.
was awesome.
It's the first time I've ever done that. But
and what a voice, by the way.
I love her. She's my favorite. But, I don't know. It looks like you and Judy are made for each other. And, you lucky dog, you. But nicely done, Paul. Any final?
No, listen, it's been a pleasure. And we'll do it again sometime.
Okay.
I can't shut up. I got a lot more to talk about.
Okay, I got more I didn't get into from starting from, when you were a kid. But all right. Listen, everybody, don't forget, always keep pursuing your dreams, keep following those rainbows, keep chasing rainbows, and never give up. And until next week, I'm Larry Megan. Peace, love, and all good things.
Chill with Larry Megan.